Oh yes, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 nights in a row.
Wow, check us
How
out.
about that?
Oh wait, I wasn't here yesterday.
You weren't here. Well, I mean, you were here.
I was
but you
here in
weren't
spirit, but
Well.
and actually in presence technically. I just wasn't in the frame.
That's true.
Yeah.
You were, but it's okay. Tiff is back. I'll give it a sec for a few folks to tune in. So last night, this is like something different this week. We just had a couple of great opportunities to speak to some people who are friends in the industry. So it timed out that this is when people could do it. So we did back to back. Why not, right? No rules with this stuff. So we had Jeff from town on last night. So if you didn't check that out, that was episode 14. Go check that. And tonight we have a fantastic episode with some insane beers. If you are in, I would imagine if you're in Canada, at the very least the northeast, you'll know of
These wonderful
people and this man's firework.
The word
actually,
is
no,
fire.
It is it not?
Yeah, it's quite fire.
I know that actually out east, shouts to Jake Clark, she's bringing them out east, and I feel like it's just really unfair because everybody out west gets, what did I say?
Yeah, everyone out west gets the stuff from out east because Jake's importing for everybody.
Correct, or at least she was, and then now we don't get shit.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. There we go, Steve-O's tuning in, all the way from Brizzy. How you doing, brother? Morning. Entertainment,
Morning
please.
entertainment, yes.
We got you, bro. Don't you worry. We got some good stuff for you, mate. Hope you're doing good. All right, we'll just get into it, eh?
Yeah, start the podcast.
Why not?
Start the potter.
Everything's good. Making sure that I think it's fine with the fan blowing on because this is like.
Oh, I listened to it
right?
yesterday. And it
That
was
good,
fine.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was not worried about it. Alrighty. What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome. Do you know what? I just fucking pulled my headphones out. See, there's so many additional problems that come with this.
right. Just
Where's the
slayed
damn hole?
it. Slayed it.
That's what you get for these, the Bluetooth joints. It's like we're new to the damn game.
Right?
It's okay. They can't hear you yet.
I love that.
All right, let's try again.
Okay.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 15 of Beer and Others, the podcast, Adjunct series, Quarantine Edition. I'm here once again with my beautiful queen and everything. Queen of?
Thank you.
With everything
Queen
of.
in or of?
In and or of.
Yeah, love
Tiffany
it.
Alexis.
Well,
Hey, babe.
thank
How you
you. Thank you for having me back.
Well, you know,
I missed being here yesterday.
Yeah, you did. It's okay. And the people that missed you, but it's okay.
But I listened
You
to the
out
podcast. It was great.
You were there.
It's town.
Letting people know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
This is a good one tonight. We have a fantastic guest. You guys might have heard this gentleman. I think it was episode 145. I looked it up earlier. It was in the 140. So it was about a year or so ago. All the way from Toronto, Ontario. We have Patrick Howell of Blood Brothers Brewing. Did I click it? There you go.
There he
Pat, what's up, bro?
is.
Hey guys, good to be on.
Oh,
Pleasure.
so good to have you.
I'm excited to chat today.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute, eh?
Very, very rarely that you get to chat to someone new that's like outside of your like, close
Immediate
social
circle.
group. So this is gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Right. Likewise, I appreciate you taking the time again, and man, it's you already know that we're huge fans of what you do, so it's always a pleasure to catch up. I guess we've only haven't seen you for. I don't know if we even saw you for the rest of that. No, we must have, or didn't we?
For the rest of that
You
year?
must have come by
No,
or something.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
That may have been the last time. Yeah.
We saw you when we came and came by just drinking. And
That was
then we
earlier
did
in
the
the
pod
year.
after.
Yeah,
And then that was
right.
it. Yeah.
Wow, that's whack.
And then the Rona.
Oh,
sold
we
us
went through a
really
bunch of
good.
times. I just don't think you were there. Like we just popped
Yeah,
in to pick up some beers and stuff. But
Yeah.
And
It's
then
all
we hung
good.
out with the brothers here. So maybe that's why
that's
you're thinking
right.
of it.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh, did they come down?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the
know
Les
that.
Pas,
That's nice.
with the Les Pas collab.
You know Las Pas Public?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did the collab that Bière de Cité. Oh, we have one of that here actually. I kept one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get that? You got some of that?
I got to try it. I mean, at this point, it's pretty much all gone. But
Okay.
no, I mean that was like our first try at I think
It was a rice
were looking to do,
saison.
like a Berliner rice, like
Correct.
that sour German style, but like super dry, super light.
Yeah.
Kind of
All
beer.
rice.
So yeah.
So they did that collab and they did a takeover at Las Pas, and that's something that we don't get here at all, man. Like we,
At some point I have to get to Montreal to get to Les Pas because I've heard too many good things.
it's
And
it's
I just
problematic.
haven't had a chance to get down there. You know?
Yeah, man. I feel it's really hard for what you do. Like everything is, physical. You physically have to be there. It's even though whilst it's pretty close, it's still like a whole thing. And now with all the complications involved, it's kind of like pushing it back a bit. But I feel like things are starting to open up here, actually, very slowly.
Yeah, I feel like
And I imagine it's there too.
kind of getting a bit more open. I mean, we were comfortable enough to like go to a cottage, which 2 months ago that wasn't really in the cards. So I find that more and more people are all kind of buying into the same idea, and that kind of makes everyone else more comfortable to kind of go outside of their comfort zone. So,
that's a good point.
And we were actually, even with the paranoia, we realized we were consuming so much American media that we weren't even thinking about the fact that actually Canada was doing well.
Yeah.
So in our mindset, we felt like things were, it's still like, obviously you have to be careful, but like, we in our mindset, we were like, oh, you know, like it's just all over the place. And we're like, oh no, they're the 3 million cases. We're actually on the right path.
We were in a weird spot too, because like, personally, I never took a day where like we stayed at home, other than the weekends, but like we stayed at home the entire time. Like from day one at the brewery, we had to be at the brewery. We had to keep things going. We made some concessions. Like we let all of our staff know, like we don't know what's about to happen. You know, we're going to probably go into shorter staffing, but we don't know yet. We have to kind of hear from the government at this point. But like I was on the road. I was outside all day. You know, we kind of put in mandatory masks and all that stuff, but we and you know, we did social distancing from kind of day one. But it was a lot different for me, kind of dealing with a lot of that stuff, because you know, a lot of people who did stay home, their only interaction with what was happening in the outside world was the media, was those types of things. And so I feel like there was a bit more of a, you know, unknown with those people, and they're a bit more afraid to go out. I mean, we even have people who are coming back to the brewery now who have been basically stuck at home for the last 3-4 months, and you can kind of see some hesitation. Whereas the rest of us who have been out, you know, actually at work, we're the same people, but it's there's a bit more comfort with, you know, people coming around and the way to kind of interact with those people when they do come into your kind of close circle. So, you know, it's an adjustment. It's been very interesting, you know, being in that situation.
For sure.
Like seeing it from the other side.
From the other. Real quick, just to cut in, Steve just say, can Patrick be louder? I turned Patrick up. Steve, can you let me know? It's from my side.
It's your side.
Yeah, because I hear you perfect, but I've got controls up here because I didn't want you to like to peak and stuff. So Steve, let me know if you're sounding a bit better. But yes, it's super tough, man. I feel like you guys really had it a lot more difficult than, you know, because you're primarily physical business, and literally there was no alternative. There wasn't any work from home. Maybe for marketing, but not for brewing. You know. Anybody got fermenters in
our sales staff stayed home because, you know, basically everything shut down. Everyone we were selling to, especially because we're not in the LCBO and we're not in the beer store or anything like that, everyone we were selling to was shut down. So you know, there was really no option for them at that point. And then, you know, our kitchen staff didn't really have anything to do because we couldn't have a kitchen. And so, you know, in those situations, a lot of them have stayed home. But yeah, for the rest of us, it's like, you know, every single day is the same as it was before, with just, you know, a lot of these extra restraints in place to make sure that everyone's safe while they're at work. So,
what does that look like now? Like, what is a brewery like now? Because, like, we were thinking, like, when are we going to be able to even go again? Like, what does that even
we weren't even sure when.
In terms of, we used to do podcasts in person inside a brewery, and now we're not.
We don't even know anymore. We're using the park across the street as, like, a public place that's like an unofficial patio for us, because our bottle shop takes up our entire patio because we don't allow people to come indoors. We basically have a picnic table separating people by 6 feet, and we have two
the dividers
for basically as a divider. And we have plexiglass in front of our actual staff, but that kind of eliminates all of our seating, our potential seating. And so, you know, we have unofficially kind of, you know, had people out in the park across the road. You know, they come in, they grab, you know, a 4-pack, go sit in the park, have a drink, and then we've put out garbage bins, and we have our staff go and clean up the park for the people who, you know, don't want to clean up after themselves, just so that we keep the neighborhood, you know, nice and clean and tidy. But other than that, like, we it's a weird situation. Everything indoors is just mayhem, because along with, you know, losing our patio, our sales have actually gone up because people just we've opened up home deliveries, and that's what I think really opened people up to, you know, getting a lot of the breweries they're not willing to walk to, they're not willing to go across the city for, we deliver to their houses now. So it's really opened up a lot more options for us in terms of customer bases. So yeah,
That's
it's been,
dope.
Okay, that's good.
It's good. It's hectic. Like, it's busy.
I
I was cursing for like the first 2 months, but things have steadied now, and like people have stopped panic buying. Like, oh my god, like everything's gonna shut down.
Right.
And you get like 10,000 cans out in a day. Like, what the hell just happened? Like,
Wow.
yeah, and so
10,000.
there were times where we would be packaging, like, let's say Bud Light.
Oh, speaking of that,
Oh yeah.
you can keep talking while we crack it.
Yeah. Bud Light, a lovely beer if anyone wants to try.
Oh, so good. I was thinking like it makes sense to like stack up on these. I would be like, okay,
Oh,
as
yeah.
many cans as possible.
At least early on, though, like it's definitely a different world now. But
Yeah, well, we would be packaging, let's say we would do 10 to 12,000 cans of Bud Light in a day. By the time we were done packaging, we'd be through like 3,000, and it was absolute mayhem. So it was very stressful. You get a lot of people coming into, you get a lot of people asking about how things are at the brewery because it's a unique situation.
Yeah.
You're like, we're like every day we're almost running out of beer. Like, we had like 20 cases left by the time we like packaged the next one.
Jeez.
Everyone be very supportive and like, well, that's a good thing. You're sold out of beer. It means you're getting all this income. And it's tough to explain to them. Like, it's really difficult to not have any beer and have customers come and ask you for the products you're supposed to have on shelves, and you have nothing because it was just like a torrent of orders came in the day before, and like people were panic buying. And it's great for us on a very short term, but those people who can't get your products at that time generally don't want to come back and try and get your products when you have them.
It's so true.
And so it's a difficult point to be in. We got to about 2 weeks into like absolute mayhem, and we kind of just gave up. We're like, you know what, we can't slow down the orders. People aren't going to get out of this. Luckily, I think the government probably had a lot to do with it in explaining that this isn't going to end. We're not going to close things down. Just kind of settling the unease that people had of like, if at any point this shuts down, I have to be like set up for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
right.
And that kind of, things are coming in a bit more steady now. Things are coming in a bit more reasonable, manageable.
That's what I figured. People get used to it now. And cheers, by the
As
way.
anxiety, like
cheers.
Cheers, Dan.
Oh, your dad's there. That's awesome.
Oh, Dan.
Oh, Dan. Tiff.
That's my
Tiff
cousin.
Dan, yes.
Sorry.
Tiff's cousin moved here from England
In a
2 weeks ago
pandemic.
in the middle of a pandemic.
Because he just wanted to hang out in Canada. It's just because Canada's more fun in a pandemic than
He's
England
like, you know
is.
what?
Yeah.
He's doing it.
Yeah, and you
He's
just
ready for it.
And now he's out in quarantine, by the way.
How is he feeling in the middle of this like terrible heat? Because I can tell you, I've hated it.
Oh, it's too
awful.
much, bro.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And
How you
he's
feeling
like,
from the
how
heat?
you enjoying the heat?
Oh, I'm melting.
He's melting.
He's melting.
In Montreal today, bro, I was talking to my brother, and it's a little, got a little bit more hectic than you. I feel like earlier it was like 39,
It felt like 39.
43, and 42%
Yeah.
humidity. Now it's 52% humidity.
It's just out of control.
What's the point?
Thank you.
No,
No one can enjoy this. This is so trash, bro. And then it's raining literally every single day for a week until next
Oh,
Sunday.
really?
I was checking it, and like every single day it's raining.
See,
Like,
that's
gross.
It just destroys. It just,
Like
what's
minimum
the point? So it's like
40%
it's
chance
too
all the
hot, so
way.
you don't want to go outside or do anything. It's so hot. Like even when we look off our balcony, usually like the parks and stuff are filled. Nobody's even out there because you don't want to be out in the heat.
Yeah,
I know.
And then when it cools down, it's because it's raining. So you're just like, all right, well,
you
then.
can't win.
Yeah.
Well, you remember when you guys came down in like February and it was just a terrible snowstorm. I remember looking out.
That was March.
Just-
I remember. It
Was it March?
Yeah.
ridiculous. It was so
and just
cold.
looking out and be like, this is like nothing can be worse than this. I think about 6 days of 34-degree weather is worse than that. Like it makes me just, I could put a coat on and deal with that weather.
Honestly, you're right.
Like,
Yeah.
There's
what
no
do you do?
respite.
There's nothing appropriate you could do to really go
No.
out there.
I was
You
talking.
can't get naked enough.
No, there's nothing you can do. I was
Yeah.
talking to a mate who said his air conditioning like only gets it down. What did he say? He said the best it can do with full blast is like 26 degrees. So I
Yeah.
feel like even air conditioners can't cope with this
What
level.
it is.
Which is why we got a portable one in the bedroom,
Yeah.
and we just couldn't be bothered bringing it out. It just doesn't do enough. It helps, but it's like,
Yeah. I'm gonna steal some of that refrigeration insulation that we have at work and just line the house with it.
Ooh.
Yeah, just to
There you
keep
go.
a lot of that cooling in.
Yeah.
You know,
I like that.
I like that.
Even
That's
if it's
smart.
like one
That's smart.
room, like a cool
it's gonna look terrible. I don't care.
worth it.
Yeah, it would look terrible,
Worth
but
it.
you feel fantastic.
That would be actually
Yeah.
pretty
I
cool.
never
Just
really
build
thought
a
about that.
walk-in box, put a chair, maybe a couch in there,
Yeah,
and a fan,
Yeah.
just keep it circulating.
Yeah.
Boom.
There you go.
gonna be one of the few people getting a common cold in the middle of a pandemic in 34-degree weather.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I love it, bro. It's out of control. But tell us, just for people who haven't had this beer, that this is arguably a flagship.
Yeah.
You know, most folks in and or around Ontario may have at least heard of it, if not tried it already. But I like the story of this one too. Want to bust that
Yeah,
up?
so Blood Light, it like never really was intended to be, you know, our like flagship. We have Chimay. It's 7% IPA. Like that was always like our go-to.
Okay.
You know, we always thought that people love lower alcohol beers, but you know, the ones that are a bit higher alcohol are just bigger flavor. You know, people are going to be drawn to those to begin with. Blood Light, I've only been at the brewery for about 2 years now. It seems like a lot longer.
Yeah.
but-
Wow.
yeah, I've been there for about 2 years, and this was a product that was there before I showed up, and that was when all the fun actually was had
Right.
with this. But Blood Light came out. They wanted to do a, like a Vermont style, New England style, kind of hazy, low alcohol pale ale. And you know, we wanted to put some of the better hops into it because you know the name that we had come up with, Blood Light, we
Dope.
thought was just this. And the original logo, I got it on actually. It was right there.
That was the
Yeah.
lawsuit worthy one from the first episode.
Yeah.
That's the lawsuit worthy logo. So that lasted about one batch of beer.
So if anyone still, did you get to keep a can or anything?
They have a couple cans kicking around. These T-shirts they gave to us for Christmas last year. We had special ones made up just for staff.
I love
That's,
that.
Because once again, like we don't want more.
Right.
It was
One
just like
potential's
a
enough.
simple. It was a simple cease and desist letter, and like we knew it was coming. Like the second we put it out, we obviously just wanted to do something fun and you know poke the bear every
Yeah.
once in a while.
Hey man, get that promo.
Yeah.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Nope.
Yeah, and so they put that logo and then immediately changed it too. We had a secondary logo with a bunch of horses and something about Windsor pizza on it. And
Okay.
that was when I started. The for anyone who doesn't know, the brothers who started the brewery are from Windsor, Ontario.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, they have a lot of pride for Windsor and I
Okay.
guess the pizza that's there as well.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Local
I didn't know they were
institutions.
known for pizza.
Yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
that's something.
Neither did I. I lived in Windsor for about 7 or 8 years, and I didn't know that Windsor had a thing for pizza.
There you
So,
Is the locals there now?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of the in between. But once I started there, we kind of made it a concerted effort to really, dig into the basics of each one of our products to kind of increase the quality of them all. And you know, everyone can take an okay product and just throw good hops at it. You know, that's kind of how a lot of people get by with creating hype for their things. But we want something that's going to last. We want something that's going to stand up to a wider audience and a wider consumer base that may not be just okay with these cool hops and things like that. So we dug down into the mash temperatures. We dug down into our water profiles, which I gotta say was probably one of the more boring week and a half that we had, because water, as important as it is, the chemistry behind it isn't my strong suit,
Right.
and I didn't understand as much at that point what the heck was going on and how to mess with it. So we took about 2 weeks of concerted effort to really take in the understanding of what we can do to change the basic essence of our products,
Right.
and kind of build back up from there. Which we're in a unique situation where you can make these very skeletal changes to your products that are going to change it on a very recognizable scale, because we're not in the LCBO, because we're not in the beer store. And the whole idea behind everything that we do is we want to put out the best product available. We want to put out a product that everyone is going to enjoy, and it may differ from batch to batch, but that's because we are putting in everything that we can to make it the most enjoyable and the most quality thing that you are going to be able to buy.
Gotcha.
And so Bud Light over time has kind of turned into this like really, really enjoyable lower ABV product that has, you know, full body. It has, you know, big aroma. It's really drinkable. You can drink a couple of these or start off a podcast and, you know, with one of them.
Damn right you can.
And the name behind it kind of really works. You know, it's instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a couple other brands that the name of you know, Blood Brothers, that blood, you know, if you kind of don't look at it as actually being blood, the name of the company, the kind of puns and the things that you can do with it really work well with a lot of these big companies that are out there. I mean, Budweiser being you know, the easy one.
Of course.
So we have done, you know, a couple other brands that we can put out on the market. Bloodvar being, you know, one of the other ones. I'm actually looking forward to a couple more that we can do that. You know, people don't need to see the can; they can hear the name and they know that it is a Blood Brothers product. It helps. The beer, I mean, I think is one of our better products.
Yeah.
You know, it's not flashy, it's not big, it's not, you know, like alcoholic, but it's good. And that's really what is going to draw people back to your brand time and time again, and what's going to drive your business forward. And, you know, obviously we kind of put the effort in. I mean, they've obviously been doing this for a very long time, but I know that when I started, we kind of had a sit-down meeting where, like, we need to do everything. We need to do everything better, and we need to start right now. And it's kind of a 2-year, you know, process at this point that we're still looking at ways to make it better. But, you know, we're happy with where it's at right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I always felt like, I'm just trying to think when, like, if I sort of like try and do the timeline for when you came in. I don't remember when, because I feel like it was all of a sudden there was like people were talking about you guys, and then I just hadn't been out there, and all of a sudden it became like anytime there was a beer conversation, you were just always mentioned.
Yeah, so, weren't we later? We were like on the late
We were
side.
super late with
it's just like everyone kept talking about it. We're like, okay, yeah, cool, like you know.
But I feel like we kept hearing about it, until it became such a big conversation.
And then we're like, geez, we really need to like fucking go there. Like, what is this? Like, what is this deal?
Yeah, I mean, the first time we
timelines, but like I know that personally, I'm absolutely terrible with keeping up with what's going on in the industry. I'm so usually focused with what, you know, we're doing at our own brewery that, you know, other than the places that are kind of around us, you know, you're kind of in the dark, and somebody brings something up like, this is a new place that just came up. They're doing all this amazing beer, and like I haven't heard of them. Like, they're like, you know, on the other side of Toronto. Like, okay. Like I honestly haven't tried more than like our beer and like maybe Burdock and Bellwoods, because like they're our close neighbors over the last like 6 months. And like, I guess I should go out and try something that's out there. And I know that when I was looking for a new job, Blood Brothers was one of the breweries that like I had heard of at that point. And so, I mean, it's got to mean something that like I'm so like inept at social media and like what's going on in the brewing industry that, you know, that they were actually on my radar. So I mean, I'd like to say that I had something to do with that, but I think they were on the up and up before I got there. So
I was just trying to. I feel like that you took them to the next level. Like that's not even like a question. I'm not 100% sure if they were already being talked about. But I guess
do think they were already, because I remember because I thought you were there from the beginning originally until we had the podcast, and then you said you came. I was like, oh wow, so they're already like known, and then you came in and it starts like. And
I guess it makes more sense now that you guys spent that time, as boring as it was, but just those little tweaks to the products, and then you know, it makes all the difference. And I think that's put you guys in a whole other level of conversation as far as like the breweries you mentioned.
It's never going to be an overnight like, oh my god, like they did everything right this time. You know, it's a gradual process that you have to understand that what you're doing isn't at the standards that you want. And once you understand that you can do things better, I mean, you can put the time into actually try and understand what is going to make it better and hopefully do that. I mean, not everyone has that understanding. I mean, a lot of places are stuck in that idea that what they're doing is exactly what they want, and the industry isn't going to change, and the consumer palates aren't going to change enough that they have to make changes to their products. I mean, how many places or how many beers have been out there that were just at the top of the industry, 5-10 years ago, and just aren't in the conversation anymore.
Yeah.
And
great point.
It's something that, you look at like, oh my God, like that's the beer that got me into craft beer. And, it's the fifth or sixth option if you get to a restaurant and you see it on the menu now.
Yeah,
and
so true.
Yeah, and it's just that I don't think it's an unwillingness to change. I just think that it's not on in your mindset. There's other things that you would rather be creating, whether it's new products, whether it's following the new trends, but it's that ability to keep your cores, those things that are actually driving your business on the up and up with what's happening within the industry.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
Yeah, even I'm just thinking about like some of the beers that used to excite you, or the breweries that used to excite you, and they slowly fade away. That's like that would be from not refining or
it's just, I mean, there's
reinventing.
Because like some of them, I would imagine, like say the ones that are considered gateway beers, because this is probably the best example. The ones where you had them. Like even
Mill Street Organic was my.
I was about to say that Milk Street. Milk Street has
a lot of Mill Street is that gateway beer.
Yeah.
Right, and like that's why I have a soft spot for them, and we both do. And I'm sure you probably do as well. Like that's what got one of the key drivers for me to get into local craft beer, alongside a bunch of others, right? Nickelbrook and BAOS and Wellington and things like that. But I feel like there's some breweries that might not bother to tweak it because it's sort of that if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. You've got it sells out all the time, and that palate. They're not trying to appeal to anything but that palate, whereas like a lot of craft, not all, but most craft beer drinkers, particularly I would imagine most people who would bother to search out beer media, would have the palates that would evolve. Therefore, it's cool to us if we might have tried Shumei when it came out, and then you have it 2 years later, and like, oh shit, this is like fluffier and like brighter than it used to be, and stuff like that. Like, so I think it depends on who you're aimed at, and and you guys are, like you said, you're not an LCBO, you're not dealing with this large scale. You have that flexibility and that nimbleness in your business to allow you to like fix it up to how you see fit. That
may have had something to do with like how quickly we came to kind of people's consciousness, because it has been there are a lot of people who did love Chimay when we first did it, but it's kind of trended further away from a West Coast IPA and more towards an East Coast kind of hazier, juicier kind of IPA. It doesn't have that like backbone of bitterness to kind of balance it all out.
Yeah.
Which not saying that's a bad thing, but it is something that we look at Untapped, we look at reviews. Like, as much as I hate to say it, we have to keep up with what people are enjoying and not enjoying.
Market research. You actually are doing market research.
Yeah.
we have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it so much. There's you'll get these reviews that are like, amazing beer, this is great, and then like, worst product I've ever had. Like, what was different between those two things? Other than like maybe this person was having a bad day or just doesn't like that beer.
They're like closed, or like 1 star.
Tried a sour, but I hate sour. Like,
one.
Okay. One. You're like, oh,
those are the worst.
That's the worst one. Yeah.
Apparently that comes up a lot.
Don't like stouts.
Yes. Fuck off. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, but we have to keep up with that. So the little blips on the radars, the ups and downs, you wash out, but you start to see trends over time of like, hey, we got like 8 or 9 people in a row that said the exact same thing. Like, maybe we should look into this. Like, this might be, maybe we did something wrong, or maybe we should reevaluate the product that we were putting out, maybe adjust it to match what the general consumer is going to actually enjoy a bit better. And we've seen positive results with that. I wouldn't say it's the be all and end all, but you do have to keep it in mind when you are making a lot of these decisions. So
that's actually the perfect way to use Untapped. I think you're right, because you're going to get the extremes, like the 5s and the 1s, and then it's the real one is when you see, like you said, you see 9, 10, 11 people say the same thing. You're like, ooh, okay, we're onto something here. So I think people get too caught up in the extremes. Like, man, Untapped sucks because you get the people who don't like sours and then the people who rate every haze beer a 5. And, like, people just get upset about that. I'm like, man, you're missing the entire point. There's this middle ground, and you're actually, that's one of the best examples of a proactive, positive way for a brewery to take something that a lot of breweries do look at as negative, as a chance to improve your product and actually do some free market research. Right?
Yeah,
like, and they pay you to do the research for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They buy the beer. Like, fuck.
Like the amount of times, I've been on my phone at work and, like, I'm looking at Untapped, and so the owners come by and like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm just doing market research. I'm looking at someone shitting on our product, unfortunately. So someone just called this one of the best beers that they've had, and they gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't understand it, but, like, okay.
Okay, that makes no sense.
I feel like the star
rating. What are your
rating
standards? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Like, people are out of control.
The best, too, because that's the highest.
Yeah.
I see Matthew says Tank House was his gateway beer all those years ago. So,
yes. Shasta Matthews, thanks for watching, bro. Yes, I Tank House was huge for me because it was like, whoa, this is like a dark beer.
Yeah.
But it's also... it was actually kind of approachable and gave you a different.
I had one profiles. For Canada Day. It was.
I didn't hold up. It held up.
Yeah. Okay. It's when it's a really hot day, and I wouldn't say it would be my go-to.
Right.
But when I have a couple choices, and I'm kind of craving a dark beer, but I'm not craving like Cobblestone or something like that. Yeah, I'll take a Tank House for sure.
I'm gonna try them again. I try and avoid, for obvious reasons. But if it ever pops up, I would not be like, wouldn't be like, no, thank you. I would definitely be down to like try it again, just to see where the palate's at. It's kind of nice, like to test.
There's always a time and a place for every beer.
See, I like that attitude. I like that attitude.
Is that a good episode name?
Because what's so funny? We were talking about a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When we were like walking on the street and randomly we heard our names called and we saw friends we used to work with. Chilling out on a rooftop, and I was just talking to you about this. It's so funny. And then they were like, "Hey guys, come out to this party." And we're like, "Cool, why not? Whatever." So we walked up and went to the rooftop. And then they're like, "Hey guys, like, want a Budweiser? Was it?"
You offered me a Budweiser.
And then Craig was like, "No, thank you."
Granted.
And I was like, "Snob." What
this is like
snob.
2014.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it. It's a beer. It's hot. We're outside."
I felt terrible in hindsight because that was very rude of me.
Because that's the craft beer snobs that they make fun of when they talk about it.
But you know why?
I'll have a water. Thank you very much.
But I'd like to try a Bud right now. If someone offered me, I just want to see where it's at. Be like, oh, this is as bad as I remember it. Cool.
Not very good, man.
Yeah. But
not very good.
that was poor form for me. I shouldn't have. He was hosting. He offered me one of his beers. It was kind, and I was a prick. And
must be nice up on that.
Right.
Hey man, it's all that Blood Brothers. I can't help myself. Speaking of that, if you're interested in getting the next one, so this is a new beer, right?
So this is a new beer with an old brand.
Okay.
Yeah. So, funny. Were we talking about the L'Espace beer to today on?
Oh, offline. We were doing off.
Was that off camera?
Yeah.
No. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I don't even remember.
Was it?
So, either way, that beer inspired us to make our own Berliner Rice, and we named it Autopop. The idea behind it is we wanted to create a Solera in a barrel for a sour, light, dry beer. And we talked to the guys at L'Espace, and we were like, hey, we want to do this. We don't want to step on your toes because we know we did this as a collaboration, but we think it's a great idea. Like, we're going to do it this way. Instead of just a primary fermentation, primary souring, we're going to create a Solera. We're going to make, get these barrels, and instead of repitching yeast, repitching bacteria, we're just going to empty them out, refill them with fresh wort, and we're just going to let what happens happen. Okay. And it's in a barrel, so it might get some, oxidation. We don't know how it's going to react, but, we want to give this a try. We want to, go down that path and see what happens. So we released the beer. The first batch was really light. slightly soured. It still had a bit of sweetness because the bacteria hadn't grown really strong yet. And then each successive batch after that got aggressively dry and aggressively sour, just because the bacteria and yeast that were inside that barrel just started to grow and strengthen, and they were used to the environment, and it just became this like behemoth of vinegar and aggressive, like base quenching sour.
Right.
It got to a point where we just like we can't continue with this brand. But we love the branding. The brand itself, so Autopop, it seems so like different from our brand, because our brand is a lot of, first off, Blood Light's different, but our brand is a lot of like cult based branding. So we like to not be in your face with it. We're never gonna call it like, I just watched Waco, so like we're never gonna call like the Branch Davidian IPAs, because it's just too many. First off, it's very in your face, and it's bad branding. People don't like that in your face type of stuff. But what we like to delve into is that secondary or like tertiary kind of things that happened with the people who were involved in those things. And we try to avoid any cults that first off murdered people or had anything to do with like child abuse or racial tensions or like anything like that, because it's never going to come back and be a good thing. You can always be like, oh, we were looking at this on the surface. There's always going to be someone who comes back and be like, well, they did these terrible things, and now your brand is ruined, no matter how good your intentions were from the get-go. So Autopop is this French cult who, as far as we can tell, hasn't done, other than just being a cult and like obviously like brainwashing people.
Standard.
Basic.
Hasn't done a whole lot bad enough. But the owner of the cult, before he became a cult leader, ran an auto body magazine in which he was the owner and the car driver of all of these, and it was his way of getting into the auto racing industry.
Okay.
And he was from France, and the magazine was called Autopop. And so we love the idea of just this like backstory of this guy and like all of the things that he was before he got into this cult. And we're like, that's cool. And we look back, if you Google it, Autopop magazine, there's images of it all over the place. He had like 20 or 30 issues of him driving like Porsches and stuff like that.
Hey.
So we wanted to keep that branding because we thought it was such a cool idea. And so this year we were like, listen, we're gonna it's still a sour ale because it was a sour ale before, and we're gonna keep it at a low ABV, but it's not that Solera idea that we had. We're just gonna kind of recycle this brand as something that's repeatable into something that can become a core branding for us. And so it's a low ABV sour with passion fruit. There's no flair to it or anything like that. The passion fruit is fresh passion fruit with pulp from a local juicer.
Nice.
Oh, love that. That's cool.
And it's something that we think, at least in summer, I'm hoping it continues during the winter. If anyone's listening, keep buying it in the winter because I want to keep producing it.
Oh yeah, it smells amazing. Passion fruit is so good.
Yeah, and it's big, juicy, and
cheers, yeah.
Tasty, and it's 4% alcohol, so it's another one of those that you can. It's the passion fruit and the sweetness that's built onto that still keeps some body to it. Drink it, so.
Is it the rice? This is the rice style Berliner.
That's the thing. There's no rice in it anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
Yeah, we accidentally printed labels with it that still said Berliner rice and had to go get them reprinted.
Oh, okay.
Totally forgot it didn't have rice in it.
Hey man.
Oh yeah, we removed that.
So you
it's
did.
It's those little things that you kind of overlook.
Of course. Hey man, it happens. I hear it happens quite a lot. I'm looking at our good mates Untapped here, just checking it. So there's a passion fruit and a non-fruited version. Is that right so far?
So that non-fruited version was the old one.
Okay, so this is the first version with the new branding and the new kind of.
Yes, we're constantly on the phone with Untapped on how to manage those brands to kind of actually differentiate them in a way that people won't get confused, and you can actually retire brands. And so we just haven't gotten around to retiring that original brand.
I've seen that where it says no longer in production.
That's cool.
Yeah, because that's what, like, say if you get a variant of, you do a one.
I actually wish people did that more often.
Yeah,
because that's
the thing is that, like, I feel like say Bellwoods does a lot with the milk shacks. So as soon as you know, for example, it's the first one that popped in my head. But say because you guys recycle, say the Paradise Lost, your sour series, kettle sour with the different fruits. You guys, which I love that you do this, you rotate them. So you've got the guava, the main one. You bring that shit back, whatever, once or twice a year. So there's no need to retire the brand. So I gather you probably wouldn't have had to do this as much.
It's only things that we like we really understand aren't repeatable. Like when we go down a path and we gain the knowledge of the pros and cons of what can happen with that, and is it sustainable for us? Is it repeatable? Is it worth the effort for us to go through with that idea? It's only after we kind of go through all those steps that we realize, listen, we can't do this. If the brand is good, let's keep going with it. If not, let's get rid of it. Yeah. And we have to, get rid of or call Untapped. It'd just be listen, offload this thing, retire it.
Right.
Because at least when you have that notation of retired or out of production beside your branding, people, when they go in to make ratings on Untapped, they can at least be that's weird that I have this, but it's not being made anymore. I should probably maybe look for another thing. 'Cause there are a lot of times where, we'll get reviews for another company's brand for something that we don't make weird. Anymore. And so we really make sure that we kind of have that stuff under control, because it'll be this beer is terrible, 1 out of 5, and it's not even the picture is
completely different.
Someone else's thing. Why are we getting this crappy review for someone else's product?
That
sucks. I never thought about that either, because the names, because people can have the same names. But I feel you look, but maybe if you're drunk and Untapped, I was just thinking you're drunk and Untapped and not paying attention.
Tiff, it depends on the time of night. We gotta take these reviews with a grain of salt sometimes.
That's hilarious.
I just know that you're calling Untapped and doing all that. I don't know, I just feel we did a video on whether Untapped was bad for business. That was a Let's Argue. We have a Let's Argue series. And I think which was one of our arguments, was your vision here, where it's you're using it as a tool for business, and I love that. I think that's where the real, because the concern was if say Blood Brothers had a bunch of wines, then people aren't going to buy from them.
Yeah.
But what is the likelihood that really would happen? And
not for you guys.
It's but in general, that means you probably would have a bad beer if you get a lot of wines. Really,
I think anything. Yeah, that's a good argument. You could argue that breweries are bad because it justifies alcoholism, but it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that they're using it the wrong way.
Yeah,
it's Untapped is there for promotion of products. Untapped is there for opening up. People can go to a brewery and be these are all of the products that they've had over time. I'd love to try this. I'd love to search it out. It gives a history of the things that you do.
Yes.
People abuse it sometimes. People are going to abuse everything. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
There's good people out there. There's bad people out there. You just got to kind of look past it all.
Very true.
That's it. Yeah, I agree a lot. I feel I've seen more and more negative things about Untapped, which is why we did the video, because my friend Nathan, who's he does our blog, he's the main blog writer. So he left Untapped. He said, I was like, yo, we should do a video about that. And he was telling me why. And I think some people just take it I don't know, too much. And he's not even a brewer. Of course, he's a drinker, and he kind of got annoyed by it. And I've heard other brewers be yeah, fuck Untapped, blah, blah, blah. But I think you've got the right thing, because you just, life is, the truth is always in the middle.
Yeah.
And I feel that's where it is. All the extremes are that, and it's funny, you can laugh it off. But the real benefit of something like this is,
Yeah.
Well, the extremes are always there. As an example, my girlfriend hates seeing these bad reviews. She absolutely hates them. And so 2 weeks ago, I hate that she did this. She made an account and she gave a 5 to one of our things. And I was it's the same as people giving bad reviews. It has no substance to it whatsoever. It doesn't help us in any way.
Yeah. I respect that.
I love her for it. But like I was cringing the whole time. Like I can't. Like I looked away. Like I can't be a part of this. Like, this is on your own time.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with me. Just so you know.
Numbers, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Funny story. You were just talking about Nathan.
Yeah.
I saw him at the Dominion City party, like right before the pandemic.
The
shut
rooted
down.
in place. Yeah.
And like it was super cringy because last time I saw you, you were like, "Oh yeah, my brother Nathan." And so I went up to him and I was like, "Hey Nathan, you're Craig's brother, right?" And he went, "No, not a chance." Oh, he called you his brother. Sorry, man. Like,
Maybe
I think it's
Patrick. I
probably
was supposed to come up and say
Notion.
hi to you, man.
It's totally because you would have said my brother Notion, which is
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably what it
yeah,
was.
he would have said my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know my brother though, right? Like Brad.
I've
Notion.
never
No?
met anyone in your family.
No, you did. Remember when we came in March when it was cold and the brothers came up and there was that other dude with us? That's my brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
he lives in Toronto. So he
Not
lives
a
like
chance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan's a smart ass.
It was super cringy, and it was like, I
this is
guess
awkward.
I
guess
guess
not.
not. Okay.
I feel like he might have told me about that, but my memory is horrendous.
Yeah.
I'll actually
Yeah.
ask him. That's fucking gold.
That is hilarious.
It all blew over. Like I kind of just laughed after him. Like, like I hate when that. I'm gonna look back on this in like 5 years and like wake up in the middle of the
And
night.
you think about it. Oh, I have so many of those moments, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just the worst.
Life sucks sometimes.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It's the worst. That's actually
Yeah, like
hilarious.
I walked up to him like specifically. I'm like, I saw
I
him.
saw him like, oh, that.
Oh, I gotta go talk to this guy. I gotta go talk to Craig's brother.
Did you have a nice conversation anyway?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It was short. Like I think my face went, the temperature of a freaking pepper at that point. But whatever.
But well, it would have helped in that -30 or whatever it was. That.
I know that was cold. It was like
yeah.
negative
It was like-
30, negative 35 that festival.
Isn't
You
that
guys are
crazy?
troopers,
And they had
my
it
goodness.
outdoors,
It was in a
but
tent,
inside
no?
tents or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
and
heard it was great though.
It was for a initial festival, like the first time that someone from that brewery has thrown a festival. If they've thrown others, like good on you. But it was really, really well put together. And like the breweries that were there were great. They kind of had a good mix of local and international and friends. And it's unfortunate that it was probably the coldest day I've ever had. They've ever had, but they managed it well. They had heaters in there, they had tents, they had kind of everything managed, and it wasn't overcrowded. I was thoroughly impressed.
Nice.
I
I
love
love Dominion. I'm not surprised
Yeah,
by
shout
that at all.
out to Dominion City for that festival. Great time.
Have you ever collabed with them?
With Dominion, no.
No?
We've chatted and like we've bought each other's beers. We kind of during pandemic, we've both been friendly with each other. I know their Sunsplit IPA is like one of the
Fire.
top IPAs out there right now. I'm super happy with what they're doing with that.
Yeah.
And I know they're selling our products out of front of house.
You're the Friends of
Oh,
Dominion.
they are.
The Friends of
Yes.
Dominion.
part of the Friends of Dominion.
Because
Yeah.
they can't keep up either, so they're selling other people's
Smart
beers.
tactic, actually. It's very smart.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're selling Revel cider and Rosewood Winery
Ooh,
like
Rosewood,
wine.
God.
I love seeing Rosewood at breweries. It's
Every
like,
brewer
that's so
keeps
cool.
mentioning them, and that's
Yeah.
great because they're friends of ours too. So
Yeah.
I love Sarah.
Ryan's a great guy.
Ryan's
Yeah, Ryan's amazing.
He's one of the first like winemakers who has been like open and like actually explored a lot of these relationships with other people in the alcohol industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
The amount of times that we've been like, I've had relationships with other wineries before, and they're very open to helping out to a point. At a certain point they don't care anymore, and that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that they know what they're trying to do. They know what they're trying to sell, and we're not a part of that kind of vision. But Ryan's been very open. He's been very supportive. There's been times where we have ideas and he disagrees with them. There's times where he has ideas, we disagree with him, but we kind of find a common ground a lot of times, and it's been a good relationship. We haven't reached out in probably 8 months, but they're kind of always the first ones that we think of when we discuss wine and the things that we can do with it, or honey or meat or anything like that. They've been really, really open and informative and helpful. for now. So
because Ryan's super passionate. Like that's one of the things.
Yeah.
When we first met them, there was an element where you felt like you were in a brewery. Because you're like with this person who's super excited. He's like jumping on barrels, pulling stuff out, mixing things on the go. But he was also, because he was wearing like a brewery uniform, like he had like
the
flannel and fitted and the beard. He just had everything going. He's just very passionate. And I love that you said that like you would disagree because that means you both care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I think about like wineries giving, it's just like, hey, here's the barrel, or here are the skins, or like I don't know, here's the thing. But for you to actually going back and forth, like that's actually truly collaborative. It's not just using.
I think that's the best thing about collaborations. It's why we don't do a lot of them, because I think the idea of collaborations has kind of lost a lot of the pizzazz that goes along with them. I think that collaborations in general should be. They don't have to be flashy, but I think that each company, each brewery that's a part of them should learn something from the other.
Yeah.
And so I know we do get a lot of requests for collaborations from other breweries, from places that like just started out and like they don't really have a name, and it's difficult to like say to them in the nicest way, like, listen, I can't gain anything from this. Like it's not that we think that you don't have that knowledge, you just haven't proven that you have that knowledge, and we can't get like halfway into this and be like, listen, you can't do anything for us, bye, like we're backing out.
Yeah.
And so it's like we have to find a place that has proven that they can do something that first off they're proud of and that consumers are going to want to continuously come back to, but that each one of us collectively can provide something for the other.
I love that. That's why I think of, like, say, you and L'espace. That's exactly what you're talking about. Like, L'espace is very well known for making incredible low ABV beers.
Yeah.
And so
specifically sours.
Specifically
and they
sours.
did the rice stuff.
So then you do this thing and you're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm picking
and
this.
And the first one was with Chris Needleman, the guy who passed away. So I think that's where it started.
Yeah.
From
Sauvignon Blanc, and they did it. Yeah, and I also really like, that's the one thing that we don't see enough of is the cross problem, because we're here, we go to Toronto all the time. So that cross provincial thing is just so rare, and it's really unfortunate that it doesn't happen enough. So like that's why I was super stoked to see, one, that you guys were even collabing, and two, that you bothered to do, like, not only did they come up for that, but they did an event.
Yeah.
Back when you could do those things. And
exactly.
But then like brought that, because we don't get it. I feel like Ontario has they're a bit more forward thinking. There's like Volo and different and Bar Hop and stuff that do takeovers, and it doesn't happen here with outside of Quebec stuff. There'll be like a tap takeover from a brewery from far east or something, which is great, but you can get that if you needed to get that here. Mm-hmm. Whereas like they can't. People. Trying to say people like it's not me too, but I guess I just know people. But like, I'm saying, like the average person can't get hold of your stuff. Mm-hmm. So like for them to be able to come like, yo, you've got like 12 beers from Blood Brothers, fucking amazing. Yeah. Like, yeah, I think it's super dope. We have a question here. I don't know if you could even answer this, and I figure I know the answer. Steve is a fellow beer podcaster in Brisbane, Australia, and he said, do Blood Brothers export to Australia at all?
Post-pandemic, I don't know. Pre-pandemic, we had a skid of beer going to Australia that in transit the pandemic hit. And it was about 12 kegs that we had going out that way.
I think I know mine. Do you know what it was for? Because I have an idea. Because we were supposed to be there too just before the pandemic, and I know.
That's a very good question.
Was it for a festival?
Point, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't. I wasn't the one in charge of it. It was like I got a text, a week before, being like, "We need to have this beer ready. It's got to go into these, one-way kegs because it's not coming back. Mm-hmm. It's going to Australia," and it went out right away, and then it immediately came back because it was like a week after we sent it out. The pandemic hit.
Okay.
I wonder if it's for the festival.
I think it was the festival we were supposed to be at. There's a bar there called Carwin Cellars, and they're a bottle shop. They sell beer, wine, and liquor. And in the back, they got an amazing bar, and they do the craziest tap takeovers. Like, because it's in Melbourne, where I'm from. Like I couldn't believe it's fucking expensive, all the stuff they do, but they get stuff from everywhere. These guys are just beasts when they do it. So I would imagine they had a festival. It was really specific, and it was their first one they ever did. So I was mad excited because I knew it was going to be fire.
Yeah.
So I imagine it could have been probably for that. Because if they got you guys, it's what we're looking for. But
and because they they had really good beers.
We're always open to stuff like that. Right now, like our our volume just isn't high enough to be able to get stuff out that way. Plus, I don't think we can get it across the border right now.
Right now, no.
Yeah, post-pandemic, we're actually in the middle of opening up a new production facility up in North York.
Okay.
Yeah, we finally found a place after like 2-3 years of looking.
All right.
Yeah, so we are in the process of opening that up. Once we get a larger volume, I bet you those things are going to open back up right now. But like, I don't have enough volume to put like Bud Light in kegs right now. Like we package it. We have, I'd say about 30% of our total volume is going into Bud Light. We'll package it, and like 4 days later it's gone, and then we'll package it, and 4 days later it's gone.
Wow.
And we're kind of playing every week by ear of like what's happening next. Like as things open up, where is our volume going to go? Like how do we get more volume? How do we kind of plan out these things long term when we don't know what long term is going to be?
Yeah,
that's a great point. Well, thank you for answering that question for Steve. So Steve, in the future maybe.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
Bruce
Steve,
Morris.
In the future, yes.
Yes, so hopefully come through.
Yeah.
Bruce Morris, big fave. Sorry for being late. Happy Friday. No stress, my mate.
Stress at
Glad
all.
you made
Glad
it.
to have you here.
Make sure you get some Blood Brothers when you get back to Canada. Bruce is he's Canadian, living in Dallas, Texas, and he's coming up back shortly. So he's been paying attention, and hopefully he can get himself a nice little order. He's up in Parry Sound, so it's still in Ontario, so you'll be able to get it.
Yeah.
I recall talking to either you or the brothers about the facility, which is dope, because I know you were looking at multiple things. Something in the similar street or similar area to where you were at, and then that. So we're in North York. Can you talk about that yet? Like on air, or is it like
Yeah, like I don't see what effect it would have. Kind of up near Dufferin and Finch.
Okay.
Near enough to Vaughan. So it's a bigger spot. We're probably going to have some sort of tap room up there, but it is in a bit of an industrial lot.
I was thinking it makes when you said it, like that makes sense because it's a lot of like industrial big. Yeah.
I can't even picture Dufferin.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're going to try and build we're going to try and help build the area up, kind of try and build the culture up within the area, get people from the area out to the new spot.
I love that.
It's not really going to be a destination brewery. We're not going to have a whole lot of flair going around with it. We need to pump out volume. We're going to keep our current location on Geary just because the neighborhood has really treated us well, and we want to kind of stick around and kind of grow with it.
Yeah.
But we need to grow ourselves, and like I said, we were looking for about 2-3 years within the Toronto area, trying to keep it within a 10-minute drive, something like that. And at some point, you have to realize you're going to outgrow your new facility, and you have to find something.
It's a good problem to have, technically. So.
It's a good problem. Are you going to have a tap room?
We will have a tap room. I don't know the logistics of it yet, though.
Okay.
We kind of have the initial layout of how things are going to be, but we're not 100% kind of set on how it's going to look.
Okay.
Until we actually have the structures in place. It's literally just an open book right now. It's a big open warehouse, and so until we have a lot of these structures in place, we have an idea of what's going to happen, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen. So.
Okay, that's great, man. Congrats for finding it. That is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, we're on to the next one here.
Oh, I was going to try and do a nice little segue, but we talked about because you were just talking about Rosewood and all the wine.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, Steve just said, "Cheers, appreciate the response. Just thought I'd seen the name before, but wasn't sure. Must have been through BAOS, I reckon. Potentially, but you might have seen him around, Steve. Like, mad people talk about this shit." So this next beer, which is wine inspired, this was the reason we're actually doing this podcast. It inspired the idea because we were talking about this because Pat, you're a fucking legend, and remembered that Tiffany's favorite beer, pretty much period,
just product on the planet. Yeah. There you go.
There we go. Is White Lies I'm not gonna say shit. You're here.
I still remember the first time I had White Lies.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where?
I was by myself in Blood Brothers.
Oh,
I was waiting for you.
I was doing
waiting
something
for you and Brad. Or
yeah,
something like
you
that.
were somewhere else, and you met me there.
You. And I sat and I just saw that, and I was like, okay, White Lies, and it said, so did I have a Sauvignon Blanc before, so it was like... I think I had the song first.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that was
yeah, I
that
did.
was that day in March when we hung out with
Yeah.
you and the brothers.
And I was like, well, this looks perfect for me, so let's go in. And yeah, I just sat
I remember
there.
you telling you like, "Yo, get this."
I was like just sitting there, just enjoying softly by myself and having a fantastic time. It was just such a beautiful experience. Thank you.
You know,
So
it's so rare that you actually had a chance to try the Sauvignon Blanc because it's not something we do regularly. Like our go-to for the white lies is our Riesling.
okay, because I did have the Riesling soon after, or
Yeah. Yeah, the Riesling is like we have to produce products based off of, you know, availability a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do have a lot of these things in our back pocket, but the white lies, I'll get into it to kind of finish off the story. The white lies of Sauvignon Blanc uses Nelson Sauvin hops, which are extremely difficult to get on a large contract basis.
Yes.
And we use Sauvignon Blanc or the Nelson Sauvin hops because the character that comes from Nelson Sauvin is so like the character of Sauvignon Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
And a wine in general, especially if you're fermenting it with a beer yeast, loses a lot of its intricacies that go along with it. So you need a way to build that character back up in one way or another. We use hops in order to do that. And it's so unique to have a hop like Nelson Sauvin
Mm-hmm.
that can have those characteristics of a wine like that.
Yeah.
It's so unique, and so we just can't produce it on a large scale. So that's our Riesling is the brand that we can do on a large scale, and so, you know, it's one of those things that we do very regularly. You just happened to be there on the day that we had Sauvignon Blanc.
And it was meant to be.
Right?
Check that out. It was definitely meant to be.
I think I remembered because you were like, "Oh, it's my favorite beer," and I was like, "Jesus, like you're lucky that you were actually."
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I'm never in Toronto. That just happened to be that time, and I.
And it was our first time
It was
at
our
Blood
first time.
Brothers,
It was so,
and
it
you
could
just
have been more
happened to be
perfect.
there like 15 minutes before
Yeah,
we got
it
there.
couldn't be more perfect. I was like, oh, I know where I'm going to.
Oh, yeah.
And fun fact, I was just interviewed for this book that's coming out. That's about it's in production, whatever. It's being written.
Yeah, she's a
But they
producer now.
interviewed a bunch of black people in the beer industry,
Mhm.
and they said like, "What was your favorite beer?" And I was like, "Oh, White Lies."
Oh, wow.
Sauvignon
I'll
Blanc,
give it cheers
Blood
to that.
Brothers.
In print.
In print.
Cheers, bro.
I was like, so no one
Cheers,
can
babe.
forget that. I
Yeah.
kept that in print.
Cheers, Dan.
Wait, you're not even drinking.
Oh, get
Come
your
on.
Blood Light.
Get your Blood Light so you can try. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
one.
we're so popular being in books and everything.
Oh,
My
okay,
God.
it's not that serious.
Right?
It's not that serious. I just
You
love
can't
that
keep
she
up
asked.
with that.
She asked what was my favorite. Oh, beer and music, beer, and then like music,
Yeah.
what I would pair it with. And there's this track by Frank Ocean, and he says "White Lies" in it. So I just said it was like it would be a perfect pairing.
Ooh.
Yeah, Super Rich Kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
Should that
so
be the
it's-
name of the episode? Or was that
we'll
too?
think about that.
Maybe we could call the episode
Yeah.
White Lies, actually,
Yeah.
because this is kind of what this is all about.
Yeah.
And Julie says, "Love the logo." Hi, Julie. Nice to have you here.
Can't wait to try the brew. Yes. And Bruce, I believe Julie is Bruce's wife. He
Yes.
said, where in Toronto is Blood Brothers? So it's on Geary Street. Patty, is it Dufferin and Dupont?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right there.
Look at me. I'm a local.
So it's kind of in between Dufferin and Ossington, just north of Dupont on a street called Geary. Yeah.
Yes. So like an industrial street, but I think there's a couple other bars there that people seem to know, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
The
that's what I
Greater Good is down the road.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And there is a couple of really well-known restaurants along the way as well. Familia Baldassare, Parallel, which is kind of Middle Eastern food. They do really, really good hummus there. It's fantastic.
Nice.
And there's a couple other places popping up. Not now, I guess. Nothing's popping up right
Of course.
Nothing's popping at all.
Nothing anyways popping up.
now. yeah, there's a couple there's an ice cream shop that kind of popped up during the summer last year. So it's a growing neighborhood. It's still got that like weird industrial roots to it.
Right.
It's like you have this like really well-known Italian pasta place, and then like an auto body shop, and then a really well-known Middle Eastern place, and then another auto body shop. It does have its industrial roots, and actually the neighborhood is really banded together. I wasn't at the community meeting, but the brothers kind of gave me the Coles notes of it last year, and they were saying that they want to keep it I guess, registered as an industrial area with exceptions, because they don't want the option for something like Starbucks or something like that to move in and kind of water down the experience.
That's
they want
cool.
to be able to have that option to, allow places into their neighborhood that, will still have that neighborhood feel, that will still make it feel like, it's something that they've grown themselves. So
I love that. That's actually really smart, because we are big third wave. I think we might have talked to you about it before. We're huge third wave coffee nerds, and nothing pisses me off more than Starbucks. So
yeah.
We
just walk by and we're like, what a waste.
Yeah, there's one in our area, and we're in the hipster area of Montreal.
It's just like such an eyesore.
And like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I just see people, I'm like, basic motherfuckers. Steve is saying, oh wait, maybe this is where I've heard you mention the name. It sticks out for me because we have a brewery here in Queensland called White Lies. I actually recall that convo, Steve, and that's exactly what we were talking about. I think I might have posted the last one we had. I think I had the Gewurz last, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which was a great version.
Julie and Bruce, you have to.
You have to.
We have to have. First of all, you have to have Blood Brothers. You'll love it, but we also need to have a beer sometime. At some point, we need to find a way to make that happen.
And Bruce saying, "Stop the gentrification." Yes, sir. Particularly with Starbucks.
Yeah.
And Jeremy G is saying, "Fall of Thebes Pinot Noir is my favorite beer in the world. Any chance it will make a return this year?"
If this goes back to our conversation before. If Rosewood wants to provide us with a product that can match up with that, there's always an option. It's one of those things that we had kind of the perfect combo of, we had something, they had something, they kind of worked together. So that was a rose. We're always hesitant to. We'll always promote other companies, but putting their branding on our stuff, because I personally, within the industry, I've been kind of bit before where you put someone's brand on something, they hate it, and it's kind of stuck there, and then you have to kind of pull stuff back.
Right.
We like the idea of kind of putting our products out there, and we'll promote it as much as we can on social media, and within the description, but we can always take that back. If they don't like the description, if they don't like the way that we kind of promoted it, we can always kind of delete it and retry. So that stuff, that was a product that was made with Rosewood Winery with some of their wine. The problem is, recreating those exact conditions is always going to be tough.
Yeah, that's the thing with wine. It's just,
it's going to have to be like one of those beers with the year, or in brackets.
You're always going to be tied to the. Yeah, you're always going to be tied to the season.
That they have exactly tied to the season, but and even your yeast, I'm sure your bugs and stuff are going to be different over time.
It's so difficult. We can always make things that are close, and we hold on to kind of archived product. Pretty much every barrel-aged product that we've done, we have an archive of it, about 12 beers stored away.
Good, smart.
Just for us to pair side by side. But those beers on their own have changed since we archived them. So it's difficult for us to first off know exactly what that product is like. We have an idea, but we can't match it up perfectly. But also we can't match the conditions that it was in at the time. It's difficult. So like I said, we're always redoing things, try to get them as close as we can, but it's super difficult to redo an exact product. A lot of the stuff we do now, we put the vintage, of the year that we did it on the label, so that we do have, if anything, I would say like the deniability of like,
that's all it comes down, the deniability. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
I love that. I think that's super dope. And even when you're to a point you made before about like the collab side of things and like putting the branding on, I always feel like if it was say like the collab with Les Bas, for example, we had both labels, both brands, on the can. When it comes to something with Rosewood, I know Rosewood has worked with numerous breweries, but I always feel like it's not a collab in the true sense. It's like, we purchase your wildflower honey, we purchase your Pinot skins, yes, you work it out together because they don't want to just be like, here, take our skins and put in some beer that they don't maybe stand behind. So I do understand that, and I think that's important from the winery, but I think it's more like, is that accurate? That it's not a collab?
It's difficult because a lot of the times you make those decisions. A lot of times you get to that point of like, hey, we have some skins, or like we'll approach them and be like, hey, we have an idea for a product. We would love to use your wine skins. We'd love to use your finished wine. Or do you have something that you don't have an idea for? it's like 6 to 8 months down the road when the finished product will come out. When we make those decisions, we don't really know if the product's going to work out to our quality standards. They also don't know if the product's going to work out to their quality standards. So you kind of have to go in with a hope that the other party is doing things right, but also that it's going to promote your product in the right way. And so that's usually when you're kind of in those hesitation instances, it's not a true collab. You kind of both distance yourself from it. You kind of, when you release it, that's when you're like, okay, we both like it. You know, we don't have the promotion on here, but we're going to promote it on social media. We'll do it that way.
Right.
But it's always difficult to, like, from the get-go, like, hey, 6 months down the road, we're going to have this product release with this company. And then, you know, nothing comes of it because the product is crap.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, and everyone's disappointed at that point, but everyone knew that it was a thing. And
so you gotta be careful.
You kind of have to keep a lot of these things close to the chest, and, you know, make a lot of those decisions further down the road when everyone's confident that this is going to be a product.
Right. Is it?
Because people always remember, man.
Yeah. Even though a lot of people have goldfish memories, when it comes to shit like this, they've got a memory of an elephant. Like, yeah, it's bigger, but
It's true.
is it something? This is just an interesting point that you made. When it comes to a collab with something like a Rosewood, where, you know, you're purchasing their product, but it's a bit more involved, is it always that the company, say like Rosewood, they have to sign off on the product before you release it as well, or is that just on your side?
I mean, yes and no. It depends on every situation is kind of unique on its own.
Okay.
I would say that there's certain companies that from the get-go are just like, you know, we want to be a part of this. Everything about this, good or bad, we want to have our name associated with it.
Okay.
And those are always good. It puts a lot of pressure on the company that is releasing it, because then you're like, oh my god, like everything has to turn out. Like
Right.
it's difficult making those emails or phone calls of like, hey man, like,
It's trash.
Oh, no.
yeah, like, this is not up to standard. Like, this is better for both of us if we just get rid of it and, like, you know, wipe the slate clean.
Start fresh.
Yeah, but I've been in every part of this situation. You know, we've done collaborations with other companies that, you know, the product comes out and you know, we loved it. This product comes out and we've hated it, and like, you know, same with us. I'm sure we've put out products that we were like proud of, but it just didn't turn out to the certain standard that company we were with really enjoyed. But you know, it's you know, just the ethical, not even ethical, it's just a good thing to do, just not tell someone that you don't like. Like, it's, oh yeah, this is a beer.
Kind of puts you in a position.
Well, that's
huh?
a liquid. Wonderful. That
This
exists.
This is a thing that has alcohol in it.
And it's like, you can drink it.
Yeah.
It'll get you
That
drunk.
is hilarious.
Yeah, and so it's you trying, because you know you do want to be, you know, courteous. You know, they put a lot of work into doing it, and you know, sometimes they know. It's always easier when someone comes up to you and it's like, hey man, like, I know it's not perfect, but like, give it a try. There's some good qualities of this, and you can actually like talk it over.
Yeah.
It's a lot more difficult when they come up with like, oh, this is fucking fire, man. You taste it. This is like full of flaws. But you don't want to say that. Like, oh yeah, like, yeah, there's sour in it. Like, thanks.
It's definitely sour. Yeah, it's tough. I
Yeah.
guess it's like, particularly between producers who are both like particular in how they like stuff. And I guess I
That
never
would
really.
make things really hard though if you do
Yeah.
like things in a certain way.
I never thought of this from this perspective. That's why I'm
Yeah.
asking about it, because no one's ever brought that up, and all of the time doing the podcast, no one's ever talked about that before. So I think it's kind of interesting.
It's a delicate balancing act. Man.
Yeah.
It's a super delicate balancing act. Like, you want to stay friends with people, and you don't want to look like a dick. You know, you always hear of those like these like high-end breweries, and like, I'm not going to call anyone out, but like these high-end breweries that like straight up to your face is like, hey man, like, it wasn't very good, like, I don't like it, and you're just like heartbroken.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're just like, like, I wish you would have just like flowered it up a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
Like, make me feel good about this. So that's why like our like starting position is like we need to be confident with what we're doing with the people that we're doing. So and like they need to like have that type of personality that can take reviews that maybe aren't going to be positive with what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, you have to have some sort of a like relationship with the person to kind of get into that point.
Yeah.
Anytime like just some random like you know, and this isn't anything against Thunder Bay. It's like you know, X person in Thunder Bay like wanted to do collaboration with you. Like I've never met this person in my life.
Yeah.
Like they are like 14-hour drive away from me, and at no point have they ever like come up and talk to us. Like why they just think they can send us an email and be like, hey, we'd love to do a collaboration. Like,
yeah.
There's no positives. There's no relationship. There's no connection whatsoever in that situation. I can't say yes.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing about beer, because when you were talking about this, another thing I never thought of before. See, with music, because I do music, if I want to collaborate with another rapper, I just pay them. If they're not my friend, which I don't do. I used to do that back in the day, and it's not frowned upon. It's totally normal. Mm-hmm. If I hit up somebody who has a bigger name than me, I have nothing to offer them. They're like, hey, it's X amount for a verse. I'm like, I can pay it, or I can negotiate, or tell them to get fucked. But it's very different with beer, because it's not like an up-and-coming brewery could pay you to collaborate with them. It has to be organic.
That would be so weird.
I would like to disagree with you. If somebody came up to us and said, we'll fucking pay you to do a collaboration,
Yeah?
Maybe people don't know about this. If this
Yo, see, do you know what? Breweries can think like rappers.
If you give me enough money, I'll do a collaboration.
You need to create a one sheet then with your pricing, and then just start being like, hey guys.
You should do it. Be like, hey guys.
Anyone out there listening, you give a big enough offer sheet. My God.
And then here's the vector file for the logo. Just tell us what to do.
It's the equivalent of getting a verse from Patrick.
It is like getting a verse from Patrick.
Can I buy a verse from you, Patrick? Give me a little
money speaks volume.
It does. Money talks, you know?
Hey, man. I always joke with the owners. I'm like, guys, if you ever want to sell and someone gives you a big enough offer sheet, if you say no, like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's a business. Build another one.
Take that money. I can go find another job. Like we can all find another job, or we work for whoever else, but like takes over the company.
I like that attitude.
You have put this together. Get your dues.
Yeah, I'm with that as well.
God.
If you're from the strictly business
point
of view,
perspective,
you got to put that craft beer shit to the side and just be like, I built it. Get your money. Get out. Start again.
Yeah.
There are like 40 to 50 breweries opening up in Ontario every year.
Yeah.
You can find another place to work.
It's easy. You can start another brewery and sell that.
This is the largest growing business, like, especially during a pandemic. Everyone wants alcohol.
That's true.
More than ever.
Go find another job. You're gonna have to, unfortunately, create another social bubble, but like, go.
Yeah.
Go
like you're not gonna find again a $50 million offer to buy you out.
That's it.
So there you go.
Yeah. Once I had them 7 or 8 figures, I feel like
that's when you start being like, oh.
Yeah, if it's 6 figures, like, what's 7 or 8?
Figures, no, but 7, that's when you
I feel like that means you've done
8 is like, that's what Little Creatures had.
No, there's this one in Australia. These 2 guys, they did 2 breweries. They built this one called Little Creatures, which essentially started craft beer in Australia at Fremantle, Western Australia. They sold that to the big guys. Yeah. Then they built another one called White Rabbit, sold that to the big guys, and now I think they're on a contract where they're not allowed to start another brewery for X amount of years to be content. But I'm sure they're sitting on 400 mil or something.
Yeah,
so
you hear about all these places in the States that are selling for like stupid money. Like, as an example, look at Ballast Point. What a stupid amount of money that was.
Yeah, and the second sale too. They sold
guys
again.
Are wiping their eyes with dollar bills right now. And don't get me wrong, they could probably be really nice guys doing really nice things with that money, helping out their communities, helping out people that work for them. They can do a lot, but you can do a lot of things. What was it, like almost $1 billion or something like that?
The first sale was $1 billion, and the second sale to that random brewery in Chicago, I forgot what it was, or they didn't announce the money, but yes, it was literally $1 billion, if I'm not mistaken.
You can do a lot of help with a billion.
You
I
could
think
fund
they,
a bunch of smaller breweries if you wanted to.
Oh my god, like 6 at least.
Yeah.
6 a billion?
It's just at least 6, yeah, definitely.
6 in every city.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's out of control. Yeah, it's so dumb. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A couple comments here. So Julia said 1,000% was agreeing with Bruce about stop the gentrification, particularly in Geary. Excuse me. Julie's saying, I feel like we need a GTA beer tour once as a vaccine. So many great products.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know if we even can wait that long because the vaccine's going to take a while there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I feel like
who knows that Geary isn't the vaccine? I mean, let's be serious, guys.
You never know. You just walk on that street, boom, COVID-free. Ain't a case to be found. But Julie, seriously, if you guys want, I'm more than happy to give you guys a list of all the places that you should be hitting up in Toronto to be able to get the takeaway, or you can order them to be delivered to you guys out in Parry Sound.
Yeah.
And she said,
we deliver to Parry Sound.
You do, right?
Yeah. It's, I think, one of the shipping companies, but yeah, we go out that way.
Okay, perfect. So this is actually another question for you from Julie. So she says, so if we're going to order some for GTA delivery, or I guess it's delivery from a Toronto brewery, what would give us the quintessential Blood Brothers tasting? Like,
Ooh, I really like that. This is a good
question. It's like a tough question because it depends what's available that week you order.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult for me to make that decision because, like I said, products are selling out pretty quickly. We're now just starting to build up a bit more of a stock, an inventory. That people can get a bit of a wider variety, but we are still running out. I'm really sorry to anyone who keeps trying to get Blood Light and it's sold out. We can't keep it on the shelves. But I would say Blood Light, if you can keep up with our social media and get it while it's available.
That's this one, Julie.
So Julie needs to get that one.
Another one, and once again, this is our core brand, is Chumé. It's a 7% IPA. Same idea as Blood Light, but it's a bit bigger, a bit more flashy.
Yeah.
I'd say. And then you go. I mean, we're drinking 2 of them right now. I mean, White Lies and Autopop. Autopop is young, it's a newer product for us, but I think it represents the brewery well. I think that we do sours pretty well.
I would agree.
I would say so.
I think having that accessibility of a low alcohol sour, especially in a time when people are going to parks and things like that, you want to be able to function as a human being after having 1 or 2 of these.
Yeah.
So I think that having that availability, plus passion fruit is amazing.
It's the best, the goat fruit.
It's such a cheating fruit. You could throw it at anything. It's going to be amazing. I don't think I've ever actually tried a passion fruit.
So I make a fruit mix. When I'm drinking, I'm usually not interested in eating fruit. But when I'm not drinking, I get fucking pomegranate. So you get a pomegranate, blueberries, passion fruit, and some clementine. Mix that shit up.
It's juice?
No, I eat it in a bowl. It's just whole fruit. So the pomegranate's a little
pomegranate all over the kitchen.
I know everything about the fruits you just had.
Okay, so it's not a juice.
I've just never had it.
Oh, so you put them in a thing, and then you put the passion fruit is it's the sauce to all of this shit. And the seeds are little, they're crunchy, but they don't really stick. The pomegranate seeds, they're mad annoying, as you know, but. Passion fruit is something I didn't really grow up eating either, and I don't know why.
I think because of beer is where you started buying it, right?
I think the first time I really had it was the Motley Crue from Bellwoods in 2017, was passion fruit, and from then on, that's why I was excited for Autopop, because it was it's that, you nailed it, man. It's the best fruit. I would highly recommend to get some passion fruit, and I don't know, you put them they're too sour to eat it by the spoonful, you got to put it that's why
it's the glue that holds a lot of
things together. Yeah, but it works by itself perfectly in a beer. It's just perfection, man.
Yeah, and there's certain hops that are like this, like Citra hops. You throw it in anything, it's gonna make it a much better product than it was before. Passion fruit is that fruit that you throw it in anything, it's gonna make it better than it was before.
Yes.
That doesn't mean it's cheating or it's bad or it's a lazy way of doing things.
Yeah.
It just means you have to utilize it in an appropriate way because you don't want to overuse it and make people tired of it,
Yes.
It's always you have to use it in the appropriate way. So Motley Crue, like amazing base product that obviously was just accentuated by amazing fruit.
Yes. It's exactly right. It's intense.
You get these like IPAs or like brown ales, and it's got passion fruit in it. Yeah, it's probably better, but like it's not amazing. And you don't want to be in that situation where you're using it in a way that it's not appropriate for.
Yeah,
it's gonna make that product that you throw it into good no matter what, but you want to use it in the right way.
Yeah,
100% agree.
Yeah.
A couple more comments. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Steve says, an Aussie bloke and a palm bought it for less than half the first sale, yeah?
I think you might talk about balance.
He's talking about balance point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
balance
Aussie
point.
accent.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was like, she's fucking sweet as, mate. Totally fucking got that for half the deal. I don't know what the price was, but I think it was significantly less because Constellation didn't know what to do with it, and I think they devalued the brand and did like a, what AD
Constellation's buying everything, that's why.
Yeah, Constellation's buying all that shit. So yeah, they did, and it was some random Aussie dude in Chicago. It's actually hilarious.
Yeah, they're gonna get wider accessibility in those situations, but like everyone who actually cares knows who owns that place, and they're gonna have some pushback from everyone.
Yeah,
of course. At least the craft people.
It's always better for the brewery. Like, let's be serious. You get accessibility to like 2,000 more pubs and stuff like that, and you get a couple beer nerds that are angry at you. It's obviously more positive.
All of a sudden, you're in an airport.
Yeah, man. And also the owners. The airport stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And like you said, the owners are $500 million richer. They're good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Julie says, #truth, beer is the vaccine. Send Bruce a DM, read the tour. I'm gonna order tonight. So can Julie just jump on and order tonight and they'll be stocked?
It'll be there tomorrow. So if let me get this right so that I don't
she's filling the cart right now.
She's actually on the website filling the cart.
Yeah.
Is she gonna get better stuff tomorrow? What should she do?
No. So it's difficult.
Or should she do two orders?
We can't give you a like weekly update on what's coming out, everything during the week, because the day before something comes out, it may not be up to our standards. We got to make some changes. We have to push it a bit to make sure that it's of a certain quality. But from look at the website. I think it's Tuesday to Saturday. If you order before noon the day of, it'll be at your house within Toronto, and I think it's within a certain postal code radius. It's like M2 to M7 or something like that.
Okay.
Outside of Toronto, it will be sent out the same day.
That's the what?
And it should be within a day or two. I mean, Craig, you guys got the beer within, 2 days?
Oh, no. Overnight. I have never experienced overnight from Toronto before, and it was through ICS, and the fucking guy comes at 8:45 a.m. and we go to bed late, so I'm like, every time.
we send it out at about 3 p.m. the day before, and it made it to Montreal by
next day.
Yeah, that was so good. That was
actually ridiculous.
So impressed by that.
Yeah, so I didn't know that's how quickly it went.
Yeah. Well, the website looks like it's pretty good, bro. You've got like Shumei blood in the eye.
Julie, Bruce, you have to get White Lies.
Yeah, get the White Lies for sure. They've got the Razzle Dazzle. We had that during the podcast, which was dope.
Yeah.
You got the Fall of Thebes, Raspberry Blackberry.
It's great,
Sheriff Taylor. I haven't had that
Paradise
one.
Lost.
Sheriff Taylor's a bourbon barrel-aged stout on nitro in cans.
Jesus.
Whoa.
I love it. It's the funnest stuff ever, man.
Oh, that's great. This is a good time. Yeah.
Yo, I think they're good, man. Just order everything you can, Bruce. Get a couple of everything.
Just order everything.
Steve is saying, why do I have the feeling Tiff is going to be laughing her ass off at the sound of our voices when we do chat with you guys?
I cannot wait for the Aussie podcast. I cannot wait for these are like
finally, I won't be the minority.
I know, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's talking funny.
So we're going to be doing a full accent-filled podcast with
with a bunch of Aussies, be a podcasters connect.
No one's going to understand. It'll be great.
Tiff, you're going to be the one with the accent.
Yeah, I know, for once, eh? There you go.
It's about time, Pat, because, it gets a little old with being the funny talker, It's always me.
Order placed.
The order's done. Look at that.
You are fast.
Bruce and Julie are the best. Look at that. See how that conversion.
Look how fast that is. Yeah, you guys are
You guys are going to love it, though. It's, man, this beer is so exceptional.
Yeah,
I love it. It is really.
The idea is you're just trying to represent that wine, and it's a good thing because there's so many wine drinkers out there that have this representation of beer and what it is, and just don't like it. They don't like that bitterness. They don't like that like malty sweetness. They don't like so many things about it. But if you can recreate a product that is a good representation of wine, but isn't wine.
Yeah.
It's that like gateway beer to be willing to try other things.
Yes.
You know, it may be steps. It may take a long time to get to that point, but you know, obviously people have different palates, people have different memories, people have different ideas of what they enjoy.
Yeah.
You just have to open up the possibilities for what represents that product well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, as an example, my dad doesn't like some of our products. My mom doesn't like some of our products. You know, my girlfriend doesn't like some of our products. I don't expect them to like everything.
She'll rate them 5 on Untapped though. She rides.
Yeah.
Okay, she's on the team.
She's a rider, right on
she's
die
good.
right
Good. Good woman.
I don't expect them to like everything we make, but I can guarantee you that we can find a product on our product list that they will like.
Yeah, I
Yes,
love that.
100%. There's something for everybody.
Yeah, when we were with you, actually, we did the podcast. We tried something that was like a cocktail.
It was the Billy Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Sunday, yeah.
I was like,
That
it's
was
crazy. It was like a
crazy.
cocktail. It was a full-out
And
cocktail.
nitro spreading
Yeah.
everywhere.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that one was good. You know,
It's a great
we
beer.
haven't been able to kind of recreate that like quintessential cocktail feel. We've had one or two tries at it, but they haven't really panned out as well as that Billy Sunday did, because that had the alcohol to kind of back it up. That really had the feel of a cocktail with that booziness that kind of brightens it up a little bit. That worked really well. We're really happy with that.
Yeah, that was a great one.
And I love it. Like, that's such a good way. It's like if someone likes a cocktail, then you get that. You just get them in the door, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, recreating it's a bit tough. We think we can redo that. It's just it's not always going to work out every time. So
Hey man,
we'll keep trying.
it's worth giving it a crack. And at the very least, like I never thought of that you've got you got the wine beers that are relatively regularly available. You got the cocktail beers. You got the fantastic like blood vine, the original blood vine with the staves that you put in there to give it that minerality and stuff. So just a really great and the transhuman fucking oh my dude, that was insane.
So yeah,
dry hopped pills with this one was with Pacifica. I
Yeah,
saw you
that,
had like
that makes me happy because pilsners aren't my thing. Like pilsners aren't my strength, and it's something that I understand the basics behind it. I understand the idea behind why people like it.
Yeah.
But it's not the style that I'm exceptionally fond of, and so it's difficult for me to kind of differentiate. What is a good pilsner? And while we're going through the process, like how do I taste for like what it's going to turn out to be?
Yeah.
And so the fact that we've kind of come out with something that people do enjoy, that people are really happy with, makes me happy because it's like a vegan chef trying to cook meat. And it's like,
that's a great analogy.
That's a great analogy.
I'm not quite sure like what makes this good, but like I know I can do it well. I just hope everyone else likes it.
That's really when it comes. That's amazing. Well, I can definitely tell you that. I mean, I've had Blood Bar a bunch of times, but this transhuman because I love dry hop pills, and so it's just had this. It was you nailed it, man. It was fantastic. I'm really happy with that. Is that something that's available? Do you want to grab the last one, the Fall of Thebes from the fridge?
Yes.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to take a quick
go for it.
Quick, be right back.
Okay? Yeah, man. I'll keep it going. Tiff will grab the last beer. So this next one, it's a beer which I've never had before. I actually got it. I'll tell Patrick after I got it. Oh, hang on. Bruce has a comment here. Maybe I'll address that. I don't find Craig's accent to be very strong Australian. You've been in Canada for a long time now. You are assimilating. Yes, I've been in Canada 10 years on September 14th. Thank you, baby. So my accent naturally dulled because I got tired of repeating myself. It gets really fucking annoying. People continue to ask, hey, what'd you say? I want a water. They're like, what? I'm like, oh, water or whatever, So you start to like change the way you talk. to fit here. Otherwise, people don't understand, and it's mad frustrating. So, and even then, add that I'm in Quebec, right? So there's French people. I was trying to speak French. I was actually pretty good at French for a bit, and then people just kept getting like either changing to English or kept asking me, what did you say? And I kind of got over it, to be honest. Julie ordered. Thanks for the info and having delivery. No problem, Julie. I'm really happy you guys got the beers. I think you guys are gonna get some fire. It's brilliant. Pat, I'm not sure if you remember. Yep. So I actually got this next beer in a trade with Nathan, my fake brother. My fake brother. And I forgot that I had it. And do you remember when we did the podcast? We actually released it as a separate clip video. You taught us, and it blew my mind, how to open a wax seal.
Yes, I do. I do recall that.
And I have the goddamn knife.
Have you learned it yet?
Yes, I've tried it multiple times, and it works every time. So yeah. I'm going to get you, just for those who didn't see it, to talk through the process.
So here's my issue.
Okay. You don't have a knife.
I have an unwaxed seal.
Ooh, you motherfucker.
But I can talk people through it.
Yeah, so I'd rather just you do it, because the way you did it, I guess it's pretty straightforward, and it's much easier than you think, and it's very logical.
Yeah, so if you give me 2 seconds, I have other bottles that have a wax seal. Okay. I can do a fake open on it.
Let's do that.
Okay, and just give me 2 seconds, okay?
Of course. Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually take a piss then, since everyone's pissing. You can talk to the people then?
I'll talk to the people. What did you talk about I have my own headphones.
I was just talking about my accent, because Bruce was saying my accent is pretty chill. And now Patrick's about to talk us through the opening the wax and just getting the bottle to fake open.
Right. Oh, okay.
Whenever you guys are ready, I can give you a walkthrough. I'm not going to open the bottle, but...
you're not opening the bottle?
Well, I'm going to open another bottle, but this one is a gift for a friend that I'm gonna cut the wax, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't know how to open the wax.
Yeah.
He just has to open it at that point.
Oh, so you're going to do it for him and be like, here you go?
I'll do it for him.
You just send instructional videos, or like step-by-steps, as you go.
I know. I'm sure I've said this before. I'm gonna get a sharper knife, so that this is a bit easier.
Julie ordered. I'm sure Craig already talked about that, but Julie ordered. Awesome. Enjoy. Were we all making fun of Craig's accent? Because I'm totally down for that.
Yeah.
That'd be so weird to experience. I know I go full Ocker when I'm around Bogans, but what's an Ocker? That's a new one for me. What's an Ocker? But in general, would be straight on to adjust my accent. Yeah. It's good to see Stefan. Yo, hey, Steph. How's it going? Good to have you here. I hope you're drinking. I'm here. The party can start. Yes, Steph. We've already been partying. We're already like 5 deep beers deep. You're really late.
Hey, fuck in it. Did Steve say Ocker?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. It's just like
Ocker, I hadn't heard. That's a new one.
That's the word to describe. Can't talk about
That's the Bogan, I thought.
Yeah, but it's called an Ocker accent.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Oh, I love the Aussies. Okay, so we're walking through a full
Okay, everyone can see the wax cap there. So, opening a wax bottle is quite easy, and I know I've brought it up with you guys before.
Yes.
That it's extremely frustrating to see, first off, a review or someone get back to you and be like, it took me like 10 minutes to get all the wax off of your bottle, and they're taking this and they're cutting all of the wax off of the entire thing. I mean, the whole idea of this is to open the bottle. So you want a pry point. That's all you're trying to do. And it should take maybe 10 seconds longer to open one of these bottles than it does to open a beer or a bottle that doesn't have wax on it.
But that's so logical, but it just doesn't feel like that. It feels like you should attack it by trying to rip it off slowly, piece by piece.
I know. It's going to be like, the Psycho movie. So all you're trying to do is trying to get that pry point from this bottle. So what you're going to do is you'll see the kind of cap, because no one should have more wax on their bottle than that kind of disguises the cap. If you have that much wax on your bottle, you're waxing your bottles wrong. Because the whole idea is to kind of seal it up. First off is to have a bit of flair, but it's also to seal your bottle so that you don't get oxygen inclusion into the bottle over a long term. You know, people will always sell their bottles for, you know, way longer than whatever brewery ever wants you to do.
Of course.
And you're trying to minimize the degradation of the product in that bottle during that longer period of time. Obviously, every brewery puts out beer at the point that they want you to drink it. I mean, that's kind of within our mindset. As if you're going to buy this thing, I hope you drink it within the next, day or two. It has the option to be cellared for longer than that, and I'm sure things will happen during that time frame, but we can't promote that because we don't know what the heck is going to happen. Unless you're like a 25-year-old brewery that's done this like for decades and decades, it's really difficult for like a 3 to 4 year brewery to be like, hey, 5 years down the road, this is going to be, this.
That's so true. You wouldn't know. Yeah.
You have no idea. And so all you're looking for is underneath this cap right here, you want to make one slit and two slits. Okay? I don't know if anyone can see it, but there are 2 slits there. You're going to cut the wax, and you're going to remove that wax from there. And in the process of doing that, you're going to see the bottle cap there. At this point, all you have to do is put your bottle opener in there and open the bottle.
That's it.
You've basically just opened up an access point for your bottle opener to get to that bottle cap. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a very simple process. Now, once again, I'm not going to open this bottle because it's for a friend, but I'll open up the actual bottle that we have.
It's very kind of you, though, to just get rid of this process for him. Look at that, so easy.
He's a friend, but is he really that good of a friend that I'd mess up his wax?
Right? Exactly.
So I have one of the Fall of Thebes blueberries here as well.
Nice. Smells crazy.
Steph, are you drinking? I hope so. I bet you miss being up here in craft beer paradise.
Who?
Steph?
It is craft beer paradise. He moved downtown. It's craft beer desert.
So the Fall of Thebes blueberry, I mean, it's a barrel blend of wild ales. Our Fall of Thebes lineup of beers is a bit more funky than a lot of our other ones. We do have a lot of barrel-aged sours, things like that, but they'll come across clean, they'll come across with some unique characters. Mm-hmm. They don't have that funk that you get from a lot of other beers. No. Fall of Thebes is that representation of kind of funk that we have developed over time. I mean, Brettanomyces has a lot to do with it. But
okay, interesting.
It's also our like big in-your-face flavor after that funk and that wild character is, the base product. So blueberry is traditionally aggressively difficult to get flavor of the actual blueberries into the beer without artificial flavoring. You can get, kilograms and kilograms and kilograms of wild blueberries, which are a more concentrated version of the farm blueberries. And even after that, you're still not going to get a lot of blueberry flavor. You'll get the color, but you won't get the flavor.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the flavor comes from the sugar that's in the blueberry. And so this ended up being about 60 to 70% like fruit.
Wow.
Like, there is more fruit in this than there is beer.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But that underlying funk was strong enough that it kind of shows through really well. I mean, we try and avoid blueberries as much as we can, to be honest with you, but this was kind of calling for it so well. And I think it represents the product really well. It just blueberries are tough, man. And anyone who says that it's easy to get blueberry flavor into the beer is probably using an artificial flavoring of some kind.
Yeah, it can, because blueberries, as you know, naturally just doesn't, like what you said, it's a sugar. Otherwise, it doesn't really have a strong flavor. That's why you can just eat them like this.
The skins do like have some character to them, but it's so faint.
It's faint, that's what it is. It's very
super faint.
So,
Bruce is asking what kind of beer is it? It's a barrel-aged wild ale with blueberry skins, hence the color.
Yeah.
Which is a gorgeous color.
Paddy?
We filled up this, cheers guys.
Mm.
We filled up this tank about 70% full with blueberries.
Nice.
And just like
That's
threw
great.
beer on top.
That is great.
I love it. That is
That's so good.
I love the Top Pot Brewing stuff. With barrel-aged sours is what you get. I love it. That is great. Very subtle with the blueberries. Even with 70%, it's still subtle.
Yeah.
Like the color is not subtle, obviously, but the
and like the taste is there, but it's like for that, that's like that's how you get the blueberry. Is you just have to go all the way and like just.
And exactly, we were trying. We had to sit on this for a bit because we would add a ton of blueberries to it. And you'd sit on it for like a week or two, and like the color's great, but like we're not. It's the same beer. You add, transfer it off of that, put more blueberries on it.
Yeah. I don't think
we're just like, listen, we're this far into it, like we're spending money on it. Like,
let's go.
Let's go all the way.
How much can we fit in that tank and just put it on top of it?
I don't think you can use artificial ingredients in beer. Like I just don't think. We had 2 beers recently that were both. I already knew just by looking at the label. It said natural flavors, which is just like.
I don't want to call them out, but it was
horrendous. But it was a peach, like a peach.
One was a peach, one was a pineapple,
say syrup,
one was
or what did they
grapefruit.
say on the
natural?
title?
It says with natural flavors. Yeah.
Okay, so it did say natural flavors, but it didn't say peach syrup or something.
No, it's
because what it tasted
flavors.
like was like a peach, like a weird.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than fake
flavoring in a beer. It doesn't
beer.
work.
Use real fruit or the aseptic fruit purees.
Yeah.
Or don't bother.
It's just you can't do that. Like you can't. It's
It's
not a
so-
cake that has all these other like things going on. Like it's too. Yeah, you
It's
can't.
so difficult to first off commit to a product and a product style, but then like see that through.
Yeah.
It's scary for a lot of places to see the price tag that goes along with that. And like we do get a lot of complaints about, I can't believe that. Like, I wish your product prices were lower. And you're like, man, we have products that are at that lower price range, but there are certain ones that we're trying to represent an idea or we're trying to represent a process or a product that we have to throw money at it in order for it to get to a certain quality.
Yeah.
Or we have to sit on something for 8 months or 18 months or 3 years for it to get to the product quality that we want, and that's not cheap.
No.
And we will never get to a point where we're trying to gouge people for money, but we do have to justify a price tag for a product.
Of course.
We do have to get to a certain point. You know what? The price tag may not be for everyone, but there are people who do appreciate the effort and the quality that you get out of that. The worst thing you can do is put a price tag to a product that's not worth that price tag.
Yeah, I agree.
And we'll never be at that point where we don't put our everything but kind of behind what we do, behind our price tag, behind our quality. And that's why, as we were saying before, there's a certain point where you do have to realize that your brand isn't worth a certain quality of product, and you just have to wipe the slate clean and dump it.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense.
And it hurts. It hurts the brewery, but it hurts more when you put out a quality product that isn't up to your standards.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and that's the whole point. That's how it should be, though.
Yeah.
Like we say that with everything, it should be.
Drain,
if that was the first thing somebody was going to drink, if that was the one thing that was going to represent you and your brewery in any circumstance, would you want that thing to be it? And if not, then it's not.
When you think
good.
about it like that, if somebody tries your stuff for the first time and it's not fire, and it's something that you're not even proud of yourself,
think about we had that conversation about content today.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
Before this, it's like, hey, is content? Is this? Oh, it's good enough. It's like, no, if it's just good enough, then it's probably.
No, there's actually. Good. I was working on music, and someone contributed to the music, and someone as part of it wasn't happy with it, and I was kind of like, should we just whatever? And Tiff was like, no. I
was like, no, you don't. I'm like, then don't put it out. I was like, don't put it out if you're not thrilled, and then it doesn't make any sense.
That's really what it comes down to, and this even more so because beer drinkers, they're spending hard money on it.
Yeah.
They're going out of their way to get it, particularly from you guys, whether they're ordering online or they're coming to the brewery to get it. And you work your ass off on it, and you're proud of it. You want to be proud of anything you put into a package and sell to somebody, right?
Yeah.
So,
And when you think about wine, it does have a higher price point, but that's the whole point. So people have to understand it's the same thing.
We're still trying to compete with wineries. Like,
yeah,
all alcohol across the board, you're trying to compete with. I mean, there's obviously, delineations between what people are going to want, for certain products or for certain nights or certain meals. But you're always competing with a lot of these other people.
Yeah.
You can always get people to try your products once. The difficulty is getting them to try it a second time.
Very true.
That's the hardest thing that you can do within beer is what my knowledge base is, but I'm sure within any industry.
Yeah.
If you get a bad experience that first time, anyone can bluff their way into getting anyone to like take a sip of what you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like it, they're not going to want it a second time.
Yeah. Very
You can't fool them twice.
That's true.
So
unless it's one of the people who bought a sour and gives it a 1 because they don't like sour. You're like, yeah, fuck that person, man. They make sour.
I tried this, but it's fucking terrible.
So like
sour.
that whole brewery done for.
But that's so interesting, and I think this is what's like pure quality. And I don't know, quality always like transcends and just shines through no matter what. And it's because of things like that. It's because you wouldn't be like, it's not like what I would want, but fine. Like, I'll just do it anyways because we did it. So like, let's just throw it out here. Like that is the difference, right? That's what holds you to a standard in the end.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong. I've been a part of those conversations. I've been a part of those breweries that we have made those decisions and we have been like, it's good, but like, I think we can get it past people. I've learned over the years that's not the right way to go. It's not the right decision to make. Obviously everyone grows within their career. They kind of gain knowledge. It's a difficult decision to make. Be like, hey, that's a $10,000 or $25,000 worth of product going down the drain. But you're like, in the long run, we can make that back because we're going to have repeat customers. And we're not going to have repeat customers if we put that out.
Yeah,
$25K down the drain.
That's a pretty heavy. That's a pretty hefty tag there.
I didn't think about it in that actual volume. I was like, you dump a batch, whatever. No one's ever actually said.
Like this is what it could cost.
The dollar value. And we've done
pretty...
collabs before, and we've been offered to put in financially, and they've told us how much it costs. How
like,
much it costs? I'm probably gonna step out on that much.
Don't get me wrong. Obviously, the price tag comes along with the size of your brewery. It comes along. The bigger you are, the more money you're really putting into the balance at a point like that. But I don't think that there is a size of brewery that you can be where that decision is a difficult one. Unless you're like teetering on the edge of like, oh my God, if this beer doesn't sell, like we're going under. Like why you would make that decision as a long-term goal for your facility is beyond me.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to make the hard goals to stay in business long term. It's all about long term thinking.
See, but nobody thinks about a lot of people. Sorry, I should say nobody. Many people don't think long term, and that's, I guess, the problem.
I noticed that a lot. We've had that conversation recently.
Yeah, we've had this a few times.
Yeah, where people just don't seem to be thinking about like what the long term implications are for their specific, for what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, and like I don't claim to know all the answers. I just we go off of our previous knowledge and what's worked for us, and we've dumped beer multiple times in the past, and we're still sticking around.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
we're still there. Yeah,
and it makes you better in the end because you're like, we're not putting out shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we learn
things from it. We if we make the same mistake twice, we slap ourselves on the wrist and we go, "What the hell are you thinking?" Like, you kind of move forward,
Yeah.
And then never make that mistake again.
Yeah, exactly.
We hope.
Fingers crossed.
Like I said, we've probably made it twice before. You gotta shake your head.
You're like, God damn it.
Come on.
I swear I wrote this down.
I knew this.
Another 25 grand. Fuck.
You just hope it's not you that like made the ultimate decision.
Yeah, there you go.
You blame that on the brothers, Pat. You blame it on the brothers.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good beer name, even. Blame it on the brothers. Be a beer name.
Well, blame it on the brothers. That
that'll be the motto going forward.
I love it.
No, this is amazing, man. I feel like we've got like a nice, like this was like a nice, like for people who are just introduced to what you do. I feel like we kind of gave people like a nice snapshot of what you do, even though it was probably a bit sour weighted. I mean, you guys do some fire stouts. I've had some insane stouts.
Yeah, crazy.
Yes, we missed one beer.
Oh, fuck, we did!
Is it Trill?
Trill!
I knew it was Trill.
Should we get to that real quick, or should we...
I mean, it's probably the best branding we've done in a long time.
All right, don't
Yeah,
get
Trill.
Trill. We can save this for after.
Yeah, yeah. I
All
knew
right,
it
Tiff,
for
we're
photos
oh, what the
anyways.
fuck are we thinking?
Because I saw that, I'm like, why aren't we doing Trill? And I was
Why
did
like,
I don't know why. I just had to admit. I was like, no, we're gonna go to. We talked about this beforehand.
You know what?
We planned it out.
Blame it on the brothers.
But blame it on the. That's a pretty good episode name too.
I hope they're not
Blame it on
listening to this.
You know what? They might. They might, and if they do, it's their fault. This actually, so this is one of my favorite series from you. I've had, I think, 4 maybe.
Yeah.
3 or 4 from this series called The Devil's Trill. Is that
Love
can you
this.
give that a little? Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that! Look at that camera. This arguably is the most fire branding. Do you know what I really like about this too, Patty? Is the thick ass labels that they stand up and they don't get fucked up when you wash them to wash the COVID off. You know.
Yep. Yeah. No, I.
Beautiful.
Our
I can't believe I forgot this.
our designer,
Dickheads.
we're really happy with. I mean, we've ever since I started with the brewery, she's been our designer. And like weirdly, and I didn't know this, I went to the same high school with her in Kitchener,
No way.
wow.
and
This
never had any interaction with her, and realized that she was I should have known her in one way or another. But she's really good, and this is her like open book of labels is our Devil's Trill series, because it over time has become it originated as our way of experimenting with IPAs,
Okay.
experimenting with styles, with procedures, with I mean, we've used different water profiles. That's how we kind of built up our water profiles. We didn't want to fuck with Shumei. We didn't want to fuck with Inner Eye or Blood Light in a way that was going to turn out negative.
Right.
So it was our way of doing one-off brands of like, let's trial this stuff out, and if it works out, we'll roll it into our core brands. So we know it's a process that works, and it's not going to fuck anything up.
Yeah.
I like that. It's like it's an excuse to test.
Exactly. It's our excuse to test.
I love that.
We're happy with where things are right now,
Yeah.
and so there's only so many things you can trial. You know, it's, so we're now just trying to put out really good beers, and it's her open book for designing new labels and putting new ideas to paper.
I love
So
that.
we were really happy with the Trill Bill one because it's so like on point Trill Bill, and the Chrome Blood.
Yeah, the metallic.
Woo!
So cool.
And it's like mad thin and like specific. It's not like this big splat of. Oh yeah, cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, so cheers, guys. So the push for this is we've had a couple beers with Sabro that we really like. We really like the flavor. For anyone who doesn't know, this has Amarillo, El Dorado, and Sabro, which arguably are some of the better hops that you can get within the industry.
This must be an expensive beer to make.
You know what? It wasn't aggressive. I mean, I would say it's not cheap, but it's also, I think the price that we had it for justifies the hops that we had and the quality that we had.
Yeah.
100%.
We've had more expensive products in 355 milliliter cans.
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah.
Particularly with those ones. I know Sabro is more, maybe not expensive, but it's hard to get.
Oh, it's harder to get. Yeah.
Mm.
We have good relationships with our hop suppliers at this point. And there are so many hops out there that are all just like, everyone's like, oh, this is the best one. This is the best one.
Yeah.
We do like Sabro because of the uniqueness of it. I mean, Sabro is one of the few hops. I mean, one of the only hops that I know of that you can get coconut flavor without coconut.
Yeah. Like it's insane.
Yeah, and so Sabro.
Cashmere?
Sabro brings a lot. No, this is Amarillo El Dorado, which a lot of pineapple, peach, coconut, and so we really wanted to have a lot of that tropical character coming through.
Yeah.
And this one we do find is really soft, that doesn't have the bitterness that you get with a lot of our other IPAs. This one is probably one of the happiest results we've gotten from an IPA in a long time.
Insane.
Obviously, that is something that has everything to do with everything that's involved. You know, the water, the malt, the hops, the procedures, everything that we've done. And so the idea behind this, obviously, because it is so good, we do want to replicate. This is something that we're going to do, hopefully long term.
Okay.
But
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm sure this like recipe will roll into another brand.
Yeah, so I was thinking,
That's what
like,
I was
you
about
actually
to
have
ask.
to move. I was thinking, like, do you have to move it out then?
This
right?
is the 16th trial of the Devil's Trail
Yeah.
series, and then whichever ones you might tweak a little bit, but like this one's the one.
This is
It's going to continue on that way. Like, we're going to have, there'll be 100, 150 Devil's
I love
Trail
that
at
volumes.
some point. Yeah, like there's going to be continuous ones coming out because first off, it's a brand that is easy enough for us to replicate. People know that it's our brand.
Yeah.
People like new things, so we're going to continuously put those things out. But when we come across one that we're really happy with, I mean, we have to take notice. And we have to, like people are going to want more of this. It's difficult for us to, re-put out another Devil's Trill brand or another Devil's Trill that's an old one because it confuses people. But you'll roll this recipe into another brand, and once again, you're always going to want to see what people want.
Yeah.
We're happy with this one. Like we're really, really intent on how this one turned out, and so. To be honest with you, if people don't like it, I don't give a shit.
I don't give a fuck. We're doing it anyways.
It's nothing.
No, I love this. I
This
also
one-
just love this, like the beer by Blood Brothers. Like all this is just
because they've made it like the movie.
Yeah, it's
This
like
is
such a movie
like the
thing.
best
It's just
label.
so cool. Yeah.
Do you know I really
Because
really
these
like
be
the
in
one
bottles
before
too.
this.
I like this in the can.
Oh, the Run for the Trills.
The Run to the Trills was sick because one, the pun is all the puns for this whole series have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But two, that one I had Cashmere and I think it was Galaxy, wasn't it?
Cashmere Galaxy.
Yeah, like that one. I had that. I was saving it for this podcast, but you didn't have one, so I was like, I guess I'll drink it. So I got to enjoy it every night. And
things are selling out so quickly that you guys had the beer and I
couldn't have
get
it.
a hold of it.
I apologize.
That is hilarious.
It was exceptional. I mean, like they're just like so sick. And I think when we were with you, we had, I want to say like 5 and 6, and this is 15 and 16. So there's been a decent number of these pumped out, man, and they're just like, I love the. Do you know what flavor
Tokyo
that I
Trill,
used?
I loved. I remember that one.
The Tokyo one. That's what we
Tokyo
had.
Trill was the first one I think.
Tokyo
I had, and I
Trill,
loved
yeah.
it.
That's what we had. That was a while
that
back.
was
That was 4
That was
or
4?
5, I think.
I
Yeah.
loved that one. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the one.
Yeah, 4 was Tokyo Trill, 5 was Trilogy because we were just like, fuck it, it's 5.
You have to do it.
I mean, it's Trilogy.
Yeah.
I could probably go through them all if I thought hard enough.
and name them all. All the names were super dope, but like just the concept of them was sick. What was my point?
Trill is a cool name.
Yeah, Trill.
They're all
was
great.
sick.
Yeah, they're all
Trillmatic,
great.
the Nas reference, like
Yeah,
the
Trillmatic
Nas
was
reference,
sick.
like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
Trill
We did
Communication,
Trillmatic. We did.
There's Trill Communication,
We
the
did
Beastie
2
Boys.
Beastie Boys ones.
Yeah, License to Trill.
Yeah, License to Trill.
Yeah,
is great.
License to Trill
And scroll up. It's this one.
Cypress Trill was a good one though.
Yeah. Oh, Trill Communication was also Beastie Boys.
Trill Communication. Yeah, and then Cypress Trill came out. It's a good way for us to get
so dumb. I love
employees who aren't part of the recipe development process or production process involved in the actual beer. Because I mean, a lot of these, the end name that we have doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the product.
Yeah.
But it's a way for them to kind of show their creativity and be involved in the process of developing these things.
Yeah.
And a way for them to kind of feel like they're part of the process of developing these. We've had bad ones, we've had good ones. You have to you still have to have a an editing process, to make sure that people come out just like they like Trill Cosby, and you're like,
That's a good episode name, but I wouldn't.
Just went to jail.
Trill Cosby's that's a good one though. Come on.
That's actually
Great
genius.
pun. Don't get me wrong. Great pun. Can't do that, man.
I mean, Trill Clinton could be a good one.
Like you
Trill
have to. It's great to like have these sit downs with people like, you should do this one. You're like, I know, but like
we don't want to get canceled.
It's problematic. Yeah, I don't want to get canceled.
It's fine getting like a cease and desist letter from Budweiser, but when you get like a hate letter from like someone who went through sexual abuse, you go like, oh shit, like that's not good. And so you have to like mitigate a lot of that shit.
So funny. That's
so
it's a tough job.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really that tough. Let's be honest.
It's not. You feel like there's a very clear line.
It's fun for like a 10-second giggle, and then you go, fuck, like, you can't go down that path. You can't go down that path.
That one's, you keep that for the group chat.
Yeah, that one's for the group chat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's done. No, this is sick. And I really love this series, man. I think it's super cool that you guys are doing this and just keep experimenting. And I'm sure as the brewer, you know, it's keeps you creative and allows you that free reign to be like, it's sick. What can we do? You know, water, malt bill, carb combos, blah blah blah. Then you never know. You might stumble on something that's like, yo, this is amazing. Boom, core line now, or something you bring back regularly. Like, I think that's just the height of experimentation for a brewery.
And having it in the same style is what really helps. And you know, obviously IPAs, double IPAs, triple IPAs, all of those they have the same base concept. And I think that there's a lot of places that are doing so many releases of different styles that they're not able to focus in on what makes that style that much better. It's kind of a gift and a curse that we're putting out so many new products on a very regular basis, because it's difficult for us to find those core brands, because people are always expecting new. But it also allows us to we may have a sour and an IPA, or like a sour barrel aged or something like that every week, but it also allows us to have that IPA like once a week, or like once a month, or once every 2 weeks, and it gives us a repeatability where we can actually make these changes, and it's not a one-off of was that the reason that that change made that product that much better. You can actually trial that out, and we have the brand to just roll those new products through, and it is a good way to just kind of throw things against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And
perfect.
I love that.
We do have that repeatability that way too, which is nice.
Yeah.
No, it's cool.
I wanted to just say too, because we were talking about beers, that if anyone is listening now, I guess the Guilty Remnants, is that only in the winter? Is that we just keep that for the winter or something?
I don't know. That's a very good question, Tiff.
Because it's such a good stout, so I just wanted everybody to know to look out for that one. If you're listening, to keep that in your mind.
I think traditionally it has been like a holiday period.
Okay.
We have released it. We've been reevaluating our production schedule over time. We have released multiple stouts this summer, and we've gotten positive results out of it. Guilty Remnant's a weird one because it's a white stout. White stout.
Yeah.
It's very weird kind of nomenclature of the style, because it's not a stout at all. try and justify it as a stout.
It's like a blonde ale with
beer,
coffee.
Right? That's the whole point.
It's the same idea as why we put Pilsner-ish.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I love that though. I love that.
Because you're going to bastardize someone's traditional view of a style no matter what.
Someone's going to be
as well. Once again, it also comes back to deniability. It's
deniability. I love that.
It's not a stout, but it's our closest representation of what a white stout would be.
I love that.
That's a beer that you can release at different times, the white stout. But it's a difficult one to justify outside of the holiday season unless you try it.
Yeah.
So we're working on stouts right now. Guilty Remnant's a good one because we know people love it. And I think that is the most requested beer that we have ever.
Yeah.
At all times of year.
Yeah.
And we do want to do it, but we also don't want to do it out of just pressure from that like loud group of people that wants that beer. It's a tough one to not get drawn down that kind of rabbit hole of like, these people are always asking when this product's going to be available. But the white stout, I think, is one that we might follow down.
Okay.
But I can't. I don't know when it's going to happen. Stouts right now during the summer is a big jump for us.
Well, right now, even just like, I don't know about feels like 40 and pulling a stout
43 and be like, you know what? I need 11. Even though Guilty's not 11%.
Yeah, what is Guilty?
Yeah. Oh, Guilty's like 7 or 8 somewhere.
That one was just like
off the top of my head. I don't even know.
I think that was one of the first Blood Brothers.
No, it was the first.
It was the first.
I actually remember the day.
Pulled it out.
On
New Year's Day or
on
was
New
it
Year's Day
Christmas?
podcast in 2018.
And he was like,
Craig,
I saved this for you.
It's a lactose. You're part of that.
Team Lactose. Did you say
you're part of that?
Oh, I did this again. I did it again because I got excited about lactose.
He said you're part of the Team Lactose.
But I heard
Team Lactose.
Me and my brother Nathan started it. Follow us on Twitter at Team Lactose.
I know.
Are you Team Lactose, Pat?
I'm not Team Lactose.
I respect that. Are you Team oat flakes? Maybe Team oats?
I think there's I love oats. I think there's a time and a place for all products.
Yes.
Lactose. My big thing with lactose is that it's a sugar you can taste.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you put into the product that is there for a reason of bringing sweetness, body, and fullness to a beer, but you can taste it, and that's what I don't like about it.
Do you know what's interesting? I agree with that. Like, I know we joke around about the Team Lactose and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, put more in. But like, in reality, I don't mean that. Like, don't tell anybody I said that. But like, it's
no, you got to keep up a front.
Yeah,
you know?
I gotta let people know that's all I care about. But like, the best use of lactose is always when it's used subtly. Like, lactose stouts, milk stouts, if it's just a little bit, or lactose sours, where it's not like the whole body just tastes like you're drinking a fucking thing of sugar,
like
right?
It's like
sticky, exactly. It's too much. So it has to be used properly. It's particularly, I think, more than anything, the stouts can kind of handle a little bit more because there's more things in it. Mm-hmm. But the IPAs, when the lactose IPAs, of course, I'm a fan of that. But I've had some horrendous, probably more bad ones than I have good ones, as have most people, which is why I understand why the anti-Team Lactose sort of thing is happening, and I get it. Yeah. Team No Lactose, I totally get it.
Team No Lactose.
They don't have as much.
Tiff, are you part of Team No Lactose?
No, I'm on Team Lactose though.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean? I'm on Team
Otherwise,
Fun, so
she
I'm
would
like,
be single.
Listen, whatever you want to do. Wow. I was like,
wow.
Honestly, that could be a division in the family.
That could be it. That could break everything. That could ruin the whole thing.
Yeah.
You guys hurt my heart.
You know what it is? I'm just like team any side of doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I like experimentation, and
that's why like Team Lactose, people who don't like it are generally just like they want things to stay pure and the same.
And
so
that's
I
really
go on the full opposite thing of that. I'm like, no, anybody can do.
Give me 2 years, my mind will change.
Yeah, look, I've been the same thing, man. Do you know what's interesting? My favorite one, I used to we call beers that are like say traditional stuff. I call them yawn beers, like, and you know how there's like haze boys and haze girls. I call them yawn boys. So you're like, oh, you want to drink a fucking Roos? You're a fucking yawn boy. So do you know what? I've really enjoyed and embraced Flanders Red because we did this event with Rodenbach out of fucking Belgium. Rodenbach Classic.
I think I got a couple in my cellar right now
because it's one of the greatest beers of all time. Rodenbach Classic is so
repeatability.
Yeah,
and quality.
200 years. I interviewed the master brewer, and he was mad cool and just drinking the beers that they had. I was like, this is like convinced me. Yeah. And now I'm kind of almost team yawn because I get it. Like, if you want to, like, I understand it, right? So there's everything, like you said, you're right. Everything has a time and place.
Yeah.
If I could recreate Rodenbach as like a product, I would have no issue doing that as my only goddamn product.
Oh, I love that. Wow.
Particularly the classic.
Yeah, it is.
There's a certain quality you get to that if you can recreate that quality, I have no issue with that.
Yeah,
None.
that's fair.
It's just exceptional. I cannot believe
Yeah.
how much I love it. I think about it regularly.
Yeah, that was great. That whole experience was fantastic.
yeah.
They keep coming out with new variations that I have an issue with.
Yeah, just
You're
leave the
hey,
classic,
it's not
bro.
broken. You're like, just keep it, let it
We're
stay.
good.
Just keep doing it.
Just keep doing that same shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Steve is saying, I only have stouts in the fridge at present, waiting for August because it is winter down there.
Yeah.
Now, he is in
Yeah.
Brisbane. Brisbane is Queensland. Queensland is Florida. Florida is hot. Therefore, Steve, shut the fuck up. I'm joking, bro. I love you. He's saying as well, he goes, something big in Australia at the moment is oat cream IPA, the words that sell out a beer in a matter of minutes in Australia the last 12 months. You know what's interesting about that?
That's in the US too, though. Is that here?
Yeah, do you know why? I'm gonna take minor credit for this. I brought an oat cream IPA from Other Half to my friend. I know it's a big call. To my friend Chris. Chris owns Mr. Banks in Melbourne. The two biggest.
I know Mr. Banks.
You know Mr. Banks?
Really?
So Chris.
I used to work for Collective Arts, and they have a very good relationship.
Yes, they
with
do.
Mr.
So
Yeah,
yes,
sure,
exactly, they do. So Chris is my boy. Chris owns Mr. Banks. Last year, I brought him a bunch of beers. I brought him a bunch of fire from here. I gave him the oat cream IPA
and Vermont, no?
and Vermont and a bunch of different places. He made within like a month of me being there, he made an oat cream IPA because he had the Other Half one. And then there's a brewery in Brisbane called Range Brewery. They're the other one who, the other high pays. They're actually opening a brewery in Melbourne right now.
Oh, wow.
And kind of went from there. Chris was the first one to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know he knew about this stuff.
But you're taking
And
credit
I would
for
say
the
it to
entire
him. I
thing,
say it to his
so-
face.
Yeah.
Too. Be like,
No, Craig, don't bring dissent upon your own idea.
yeah, that's a good one.
This is you.
Yeah. You're like,
That's true, because everyone's going to be mad at it.
yeah, it was
What
mad
we
at you.
need what we need during this pandemic is people building themselves up.
Not bringing them down. Not bringing them down.
yourself down. Bring
Okay,
yourself up.
that was Chris's fault. That was all him.
All Chris's fault.
He
Yeah.
fucked up
Yeah.
and did the
Yeah.
oat cream IPA.
Yeah.
That's so funny because I felt seeing oat cream was just such an it's just such an other half or like new, just like such an American thing. I didn't feel like. Did you guys have something that was like an oat cream IPA or anything like that?
We haven't described something as oat cream
'Cause that was just like a thing you kept
I
seeing in
find
the title.
that non-attractive whatsoever. in it.
They're like, that's like oatmeal porridge. Like that's not
Yeah.
that's not sexy.
But we have. I would have to talk to other breweries and see what they would justify as oat cream.
Mhm.
I
you
know
familiar with that?
we have we've done. I'm fine with saying this because we've gotten past this and we don't do it anymore. We have trialed with like soaking oats in water and pressing like the
You made oat milk.
yeah, well, not even milk. It's like oat starch.
Okay.
You make like a gluey oat starch,
Yeah.
and it weirdly comes out on the back end because oat starch is just complex sugars that get broken down into alcohol, and if you have the right yeast, that will kind of break them down. We trialed that with a yeast that wouldn't kind of break them down and would kind of keep that thickness. It's literally, you ever make the that like non-Newtonian fluid of like cornstarch and water and like you hit it and it literally came out in that consistency and you put it in the beer because it's all starches, it's all the kind of base ingredients of beer. We trialed it and like the process of making it and getting into the product wasn't worth it if it were going to become one of our like core brand like procedures. And so once again, I bet you one. I can't tell you which one, but I bet you one of the Devil's Trills had that procedure in it because we were trying to like see if it would work and like if it was worth our time and if it would make it a more positive experience, if it would just like degrade the product completely. And it was weird in that it created fullness, but it also created a weird like slickness to the beer.
Didn't work so well.
It wasn't negative, but it also wasn't positive.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a trial, and it was something that we wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And so we kind of worked with that. I don't know if that's how other people either made or would describe their oat milk IPAs or oat milk stouts or whatever else.
Cream.
Oat cream.
Oat cream. Even worse. Like that's. I find that even like difficult to say.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, eh? I think other half came up with that, so we can all blame them. It's the Merc.
But half to the guys, the other half, because like we've trialed a lot with oats. We've trialed a lot with like flaked oats, with malted oats, with every variation of oats that you can get. And like I think that oats can provide a very positive experience to a product if used in the right way. And trust me, we've trialed a lot of different ways to use oats. I just don't know what they're describing their oat cream IPAs as.
Yeah.
I think they have...
If what we did would fit within that description.
My understanding is it's an IPA with oats, but also with a touch of lactose.
This is what I just read here on Reddit.
Yeah, break it down.
Okay.
So in Reddit they said that it's... So the beer that person tried, like Space Daydream Imperial Oat Cream IPA.
I think I had that.
I have a feeling that we had that.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, and that person said, "What a mouthful."
Yeah. So
they're using lactose and oats to impart that.
Yeah, but the lactose is
a
like
cream IPA that contains oats, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not oat cream in the end. It's just
the cream part is the lactose, but it's not overly. We're just talking about like using it right. They don't overly use it. They just do it to give it a little touch of body and a touch of sweetness to complement the oats, as opposed to being the whole. I
don't think something like that's a bad thing. I think as long as you can justify the reasoning behind your description, I think that's great. I think you can call any product whatever you want as long as you can justify it.
Yeah.
But we haven't done that. I haven't gone down that oat plus lactose. Because I will do everything I can to recreate lactose without lactose.
I respect that.
He's heavy team no lactose.
Yeah,
okay,
Guilty Remnant. I think we started off with Guilty Remnant. I think Guilty Remnant's one of the few products where I'm like, listen, this works. Like this does what we want it to do. This makes the product a better product. And there's a lot of times where I'm like very against adding certain things to products.
Yeah.
But as long as we trial it, and like we trial in little like Erlenmeyer flasks, little beakers. As long as that trial justifies the addition of it, I will never be against it.
I respect that.
And Guilty Remnant is one of those things where I was like, going into it, like, I don't want to fucking do this. And then I added it, and it's like, okay, like, you got me. Like all right.
The lactose will get you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do win, bro. Yeah. Sometimes
the team.
Not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah.
Sam Smalley says, "Hi, I'm from Southwest Victoria. What's good, Sam? Man? Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you." Steve says, "Gotta go, guys. Was a good listen. Thanks for the entertainment again. See you next week."
Steve, you stuck around for how long? What are you doing? 2 hours and 20 minutes.
2 and 20
My
minutes.
goodness, Steve.
But we've been going, bro.
Hey,
I knew we'd talk for a while. I had a feeling.
I lose track of time on these things.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, we're having a good time. So,
yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I guess we got through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beers. That's not bad.
Yeah.
We did pretty well. You handled it solo. We handled it between us.
Yeah,
so,
we split it. I haven't even eaten
to be
today,
honest,
though,
I got a couple of these that are like 3/4 full.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
We'll be able to finish them off. Nah, man, I appreciate your time. This has been great to catch up, and it's been great to sort of go over all the different stuff you've been doing in the last year. I feel like it's just going to levels and levels, bro. I appreciate everything you guys do.
Must be so nice to be like part of something great, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know it's going to be great until you actually kind of put the effort in and kind of put the time in. I mean, there are a lot of other avenues that I personally could have gone down that potentially wouldn't have turned out this way. So.
That's true. I mean, but look, you put your time in.
People love you. They're obsessed. You put out something, and people lose their minds, and they want to drink it, and they're hoarding it in the apocalypse. They're like, oh, if the world comes to an end, I need to have blood light in my
Patrick's fucking.
It's very cool. That's very, very cool.
I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I think that we try to make a good quality product. We don't try and make something that is obviously. That people think they can't find anything else. We still think that there are other options other than us, and we really appreciate that first off, that other people are making quality products, so it drives us to make something better.
Yeah.
It does create a bit of a co-opetition type of thing where we love them, but we also want to be better than them.
Hey, that's good. Hey,
but I just keep wanting to make beer that I like, and Pilsners are the exception, but I think we can still do better than that.
Well, if you don't like the the transhuman state, and that's an example of a beer you don't like that you're making good, then keep hating
doing
Pilsners.
it. Yeah, keep hating it and doing it.
That was one of my favorite pills for a while, so fuck.
Dude, if everyone wants to, try out some stuff or just ask questions, we're more than happy to answer any random questions that people have for us. Keep throwing ideas out, keep rating on Untapped, because I hate them, but they are helpful.
Yeah.
And just keep enjoying products. It keeps us going, and it is nice to see that people are actually liking something that you put a lot of work into. So
yeah.
I appreciate that. I think that's exactly it. People keep supporting local more than ever. It's all about local. If you're in Toronto, Toronto, you can go there. If you're in Ontario, you can order from there. Support, your local beer producers, because right now it's been a rough time.
Support your local malt dealers.
Everything top to bottom. All you guys are supporting all of the other local, the hops and malt.
Everything. It's all good. It all just rolls into so many different things. That's why I love it so much. It's all these ingredients are helping other people. It's very, very cool.
It keeps the economy going. It keeps the profits going. So I love it.
Yeah. Everyone stay safe.
Yeah, man. Stay home and look. Wear a fucking mask. I know they're annoying.
Yeah,
I know
we wear a fucking mask for 12 hours a day.
Oh, that must be so hot.
34-degree weather. You can wear a mask at
for
home
20 minutes.
Or when you go into a Shoppers Drug Mart.
That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's so mandatory in Ontario.
For the first time we don't go outside. We haven't been going outside. So for the first time ever this Wednesday, we went and did
We
activities outdoor. Really.
have to wear a mask.
And I was like, damn,
time.
you gotta wear a mask all the time. I'm like, damn, this is actually.
It's annoying.
It's annoying, but you gotta do it.
But you shut up.
But you gotta do it.
And it sucks, and we all know that it sucks.
Yeah.
Just put your goddamn mask on.
Yeah.
Put your goddamn mask on. It's out of control. Just before we do the wrap up, I want to do the thumbnail because I have to take it while we're live. Otherwise, you get all this crap on the screen. So
is this where I got my mouth open? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this is where my jaw dislocates, right? Is that what we're doing here?
Hold on. Let me just. I'll get this one.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
No, it's not available. Let's get this. I'll put this here. There.
We're gonna be posting other pictures of everything, anyways. Hey, there we go. Right.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Did we get it? Are we satisfied?
Yeah. Love it.
You're going to enjoy this thumbnail, bro. You are a beast. Pat, where can everybody find Blood Brothers online, my G?
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again? Sorry.
Where can everybody find Blood Brothers online?
We're on Instagram. We're not on Twitter. We're not that cool.
No, you are on Twitter. It's at Blood Brothers TO.
So you're not using Twitter,
Blood
but
Brothers TO. I tag you all the time.
Really? We're on there? Oh, I didn't even know that. I'm not on Twitter. Maybe that's just why I was...
Get on Twitter. It's the best. There's lots of angry people.
Yeah, so Instagram, Twitter, obviously, because I knew that.
Close.
We're online at bloodbrothersbrewing.com. And I think that might be it on Facebook.
Instagram and Facebook.
I'm assuming we're on Facebook.
Yeah, you're on Facebook.
Yeah, look us up.
You're on Instagram?
Look us up on Google. I bet you they have all of our
Google
connections
has
on
this stuff on there.
Google never
They find a way to get the things together.
I'm like a terrible supporter of social media. This is why, when I said I knew about Blood Brothers before I got there, that I was like, oh yeah, they must be justifiably okay because I know that they exist.
I love that so much.
That's all that matters. People will be able to find it. Sam Smalley says, my dream Aussie beer would be a three-way collab between Mr. Banks, Range, and Mountain Culture. I heard about Mountain Culture the other day. I just followed him. All right, I feel you.
And yes, Julie, keep your mask on.
Yes, and Julie's saying
I
she
need to
wears a
find
mask
out what's about November 3rd,
to stay alive until November 3rd.
Is that the election?
Oh, yeah.
Is that your election?
I think
that's
it is.
hilarious. Okay.
Just to get rid of Trump.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Patty, I appreciate you, man. You are a legend. Stick around.
Man,
We're going to wrap up
yeah.
the podcast part, then we wrap up the live part, and
Yeah.
then I'll talk to you after off it.
Okay.
So, man, thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast, and check out the long form audio so you can hear very attractive gentlemen like Uncle Pat talk about craft beer.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
That's right, you heard me, Pat. Look in the mirror, you'll see it. That is it, guys. We'll see you next week. Appreciate y'all. Get in here. All right, that's the podcast. Live people. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been a good one.
Guys,
really
you guys
great
hung out
comments.
for so long. It's 2.5 hours. Like,
this
oh
is
my
the longest
gosh,
one we've
you
done
guys
for a while
crazy.
because we haven't had many
Thanks
guests
for hanging out with
for
us.
a bit.
Yeah,
We've kind of just been ourselves and just kind of like
okay,
around.
Julie's right. Yeah, it's the US election.
US
That's
election.
what I thought. All right. Yes, Julie.
Yeah,
Good
so it's
on
going to
you.
vote
Good
that.
on you. Just come to
POS
Canada
out
and stop this. That's too
Yeah.
terrifying on that side. So just stay on our side. Here.
Yeah, I don't envy that.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys hung out for so long. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
just
appreciate
geez,
y'all, and like I'm glad that
this is like the second longest we've kept you, or the longest we've kept you probably.
I'm glad that Bruce and Julie did a look. The camera's about to die, which is great.
Oh, perfect.
Did the order, so they'll be able to get the fire. Everything should be available for a while, so keep checking that. There's going to be new stuff every week, so people are going to be ordering.
Let us know what you got, Bruce and Julie, in the end.
Yeah, let us know what you guys got. Keep ordering. Pat's going to keep pumping out new beer.
Yeah.
Mate, appreciate you.
Yep.
You're the man. Guys, we're here every Friday, 8 p.m. We'll see y'all next week.
Patrick's Day.
Hey?
I said, but Patrick's Day, don't.
Yeah, Patrick's Day. You have to.
I'll stick around. I got like 4 other beers here. I got
there you go. So he's good to go. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.